The chase for the championship isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to weed out the weak, pressure the strong, and determine the best of the best over a multi-week postseason. For the Outsider Racing League, the season has been tough, but it's about to get much, much harder. To start off a 6-round chase with one of the least predictable races might seem sensible, but with no ability to build a cushion, a bad night here could put even the best of the best in a deep hole. Next week, we'll be turning left and right in upstate New York at Watkins Glen International, but a right turn today means that something has gone horribly wrong. This is the Outsider Racing League. This is the beginning of the chase. This is Talladega. Welcome to SimTV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined tonight by Finian DeCuna. Finian, tonight we take on the 2.6-mile Talladega Superspeedway in an endurance race, 110 laps around here tonight. There's over 25 drivers entered. It's the first round of our 6-event postseason. There's a lot on the line tonight. No chance for anybody to build up a cushion. If something goes wrong tonight, it's going to go very, very, very wrong.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing how this race plays out. And like you said, you know, a lot of things can go well. Also, a lot of things can go wrong for these drivers. So it's high risk, high reward for these drivers here tonight, especially for the drivers that are in the playoffs, the few of them that have made it. So this can be a chance for a lot of them to get some really valuable points that they might not get, especially going to a road course next week. Or this might be a track that a lot of guys just take it easy and just try to get a good midfield finish.
Let's take a look at our chase grid for the 10-driver postseason. Again, no resets after this. It's just 10 drivers straight up to the end of the season. We have them sorted by wins here. Alek Martinez and Jeff Wright, 3 wins apiece. Halpern with 2, Tim Downey with 1, Jeremy Miller with his season opener win at Daytona. That's going to be important later today. 1 win for him. Everyone else, from Alex Bell, Butler, Hronis, Lakatos, and Stravato, they have none. But this is a wild card race, Finian. But if we look back to Daytona, the first time that these guys had raced with the new 2019 plate racing package, there was one driver that stood out that it didn't make it seem like it was a wild card race, and that driver was Jeremy Miller.
Yeah, and he did really well, and you know, there's a lot of talk about you know, if he'll be able to perform as well. I actually forgot what the poll was. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, so the question for the survey amongst the drivers of how well would Jeremy Miller lead half of the race like he did at Daytona? 40% of the drivers said yes, and 60% said no. So it's a very close split. So a lot of people think that Miller has got a decent shot today, and we'll see if he is. And also, just notice Eric Mickey's on the grid. Yeah,
Eric Mickey again. He actually, if you remember way back before ORL existed, back in the virtual racing league days, Eric Mickey actually competed, and he competed at Michigan Speedway. That was the last time that he competed. That race ended up kind of not going the way that he wanted to, and
no, it did not.
We have not seen him since then, but he is finally back. I think this is the first race that he's entered on SimTV since then, so it's good to see Eric back. Let's take a look also at the track conditions for tonight's event. 77 in the air, 113 track temp. Pretty hot conditions out there. You'll also notice on the left-hand side of the screen, all the drivers lit up in gold. Those are your chase contenders. There are 10 of them on there tonight. And again, no points resets at all, so every race is going to matter, and this one especially so, because everyone's on equal footing coming in here, with the exception of the bonus points from the race winners. All right, so qualifying about 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Adam Cabot on top of the board right now as he works his way around the course. There's other drivers that are laying down their times right now. Bailey Turner is one of them. He's going to come across the line. What's he going to run? It will be a 53.177. He'll start his second lap here as we're out on board.
Looking towards the top of the chart so far, his drivers are still qualifying in. It's Cabot, Kalusa, and Gali, your top 3.
Yeah, Turner, again, the speeds around here, single car, are not really that cool. I mean, they're running all about 181, 182 miles an hour. That's pretty slow here, Finney, with that big drag from the rear spoiler, but you get into the draft and you're going to see some ridiculous speeds, probably closing in at 200 miles an hour. Also notice that Alek Martinez just went 3rd quick. He's had a really good season, but admittedly, he's slowed down just a little bit in recent weeks. As you see Bailey Turner go to the top of the board by 11 thousandths of a second, puts him on provisional pole.
Yeah, we say slow down the fact that he's not winning races. He still finished remarkably well. I think Richmond actually might have been one of his worst finishes that he did not wreck out of. Let me double check that fact.
Yeah, I believe it, because he's only finished outside of the top 5 only a couple times this season.
The only time he finished outside of the top 5 was when he was wrecked out at Homestead.
Right. So
24th. Every other finish besides last week, including, was inside the top 4.
Yeah, so pretty impressive season. I don't think that Jeff Wright has had quite the success, or at least the consistency that Alek Martinez has had. But I can tell you one thing, is that it doesn't really matter, because now they're all, they're all synced up with bonus points, 3 wins apiece for Wright and for the 18 of Alek Martinez. And so all the strategy that Martinez had played all season long, it's not going to matter. It's 6 races. It's 6 races to the end, and you're going to have to be the best over those 6 races. So on the pole here, new livery for the 18 this week. It's a variation of the one that Jordan Ashland painted based on the Grid Life Midwest poster, and this one is actually based on the Grid Life South poster from Road Atlanta back in August. So some orange on the 18 for the Outsider Racing League chase this time around. So here's a look at our race analysis here tonight. 110 laps, Finney, and that's almost 300 miles, 291.9 miles of racing tonight. That's a long one. What's the plan for tonight? You racing up front, racing out back? What's the best way to stay out of trouble?
I'm gonna just find a place in line, find a nice cozy place in line, and just sit there and ride for about 105 laps. Honestly, I think for a lot of these guys, I think that might be the game plan. I just really don't see much of a point, especially because I don't even think they might give 1 point for leading at halfway here in this series, but that's pretty much about it. So there's not really a whole lot of incentive to actually go and try for the rest of the race. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see majority of the field just kind of lean back. We might see a few guys up in the front that really don't have much to lose. They'd probably just fight just for the heck of it. But again, 110 laps, a long way to go.
Yeah, so again, we got over 25 drivers. It looks like we might have a little over 26. We'll roll through our starting lineup here in just a moment. We'll take one last look at our track conditions before we roll here tonight. Track temp falling just a little bit in the afternoon sun, but again, there's a lot of pavement here, a lot of pavement to soak up temperature. I don't think it'll be an issue tonight. All that downforce is going to mean that handling shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's going to be staying out of trouble that will be the challenge this evening. So let's roll through our starting lineup here. On the front row tonight is going to be the number 24, the California kid, Bailey Turner, right alongside Adam Cabot in the 77 from New Jersey.
Yeah, and then moving on back to row number 2, we got Bryce Kalous in the 82 landing up on the inside lane. Now to him, in the 18, Alek Martinez. We're definitely going to keep our eye on that driver tonight.
In row number 3, Yusuf Ghali, the Texan, in the number 12. On the outside of him, Joshua Banks in the SWA Motorsports, number 36.
Moving back a row, we got Zach Halpern lining up in the 26th and 7th place. He's been on a hot streak as of late. Outside of him, Angelo Stravato with the 33, looking for some more luck. He's gotten some, especially after last week.
Matthew Close in the 22. In 9th place tonight, Brandon Gagnon in the 83, looking for some better luck. No, there's no better place to turn that around than Talladega.
And moving back to 11th, we got DeMarco Starks in the 48 with a really good qualifying effort up in 11th. Outside of him, Harrison Chandler in the 91.
Elliot Butler in 13th, Casey Lakatos in 14th. Those drivers running in row number 7. Elliot in the 6th, Lakatos in the 50.
And moving back another row, we got Robert Gavin in the 75 lining up in 15th, and outside of him in the 15 car is Alex Bell, will be lining up in 16th.
Eric Mickey's return to Sim TV comes in the number 20 car, starting 17th tonight. Jeff Wright, tied for first in the standings, rolls off 18th in number 48.
Yeah, notably, too, Jeff Wright was the first car to not put down a qualifying time, and everyone else in behind has not qualified. And then we got also Eli Hinton lining up in the 13th and 19th, and Jesse Pierce in the 17th and 20th.
We'll have the rest of that scroll along the bottom of the screen as we roll through turns 3 and 4 to start this race tonight. Drivers heating up those tires. Another challenge tonight, the new tire model V7. We have yet to see this tire on a plate track. I'm not really sure it's going to play a factor tonight, but just keep that in the back of your minds, especially after spins, the increased tire wear, that could be an issue.
I completely forgot that we have a new tire model. It'll be extremely entertaining, at least to you and me. If someone blows a tire in the front of the field, everyone else would be panicking at that point. I doubt, like I said, I doubt we're going to see it. You probably have to go in the same tire the entire race, which I kind of want to see someone do, but I doubt we're going to see that.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be much of an issue tonight. Field rolling through the tri-oval here. Again, the discussion every time we come to Talladega is how far away the start-finish line is from turn 4. Gives drivers ample opportunity to make a last lap maneuver. Coming to the start-finish line, 110 laps, about an hour and 36 minutes of racing. The 24 of Bailey Turner on the pole. Not a chase driver tonight, just going for the win. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Talladega. Out of turn 4, you see a couple drivers dropping out of the field already to stay out of trouble early. But up at the front, Bryce Calusa jumps to the outside in front of, I believe that's the 36 of Joshua Banks. He's going to push the 82 to the lead here in turn number 1.
Yeah, not surprised there. He's just going to, and then Bryce was immediately going to pull down right in front of the 24 and the 77. So those guys lining up in there. You see Halpern and also Stravato lane in the inside lane. And yeah, like you said, a lot of guys already starting to go to the back. They're dropping on the line, especially Alek Martinez. He's the third to last car on the track right now.
Again, you'll notice on the left-hand side of the screen on the timing and scoring tower, you see the 83 Gagnon real sideways. But again, the gold drivers are your playoff for your chase contenders. They are the ones going for the championship, the ones that need to stay out of trouble tonight. There's a grouping of them in the back half of the top 10. You see the 83 Finian moving around quite a bit. That's Gagnon, and a little bit scary early to be sliding around so much. Maybe the grip level isn't quite there yet.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, he started doing a little bit to heat up, so we'll see if he is able to calm down a little bit up. And he's actually going to move to the outside as Joshua Banks goes in. He's going to file in on the inside lane in the lead. Nope, he's going to go back up.
Changing lanes here early. It's going to stack up the 83, and right behind them is the 91 of Harrison Chandler. There's Adam Cabot dropping onto the apron on the back straightaway to get out of trouble. Car swings to the outside of the background. That's Eli Hinton jumping to the outside lane. 3 wide midfield.
With a classic scheme, I believe that's David Pearson that he's paying tribute to.
Unfortunately, we heard the news earlier this week that Junior Johnson, one of NASCAR's original legends, passed away this week, as did David Pearson earlier in 2019. So, of course, we're getting to the point now in history where some of the legends, Finian, are starting to go, and it makes you realize that NASCAR's history really isn't all that old. But they say legends never die, but unfortunately, Junior Johnson and David Pearson gone in 2019.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. It's nice to see that tribute out on the track. And, you know, hopefully, you know, yeah, eventually, you know, those times come. But, yeah, it's really unfortunate for Junior Johnson. But up in the front, you got Joshua Banks and the 82 Bryce Calusa going side by side still. And also, I noticed that Jeff Wright in the 48, he's jumped up here third on the inside line.
So, is tonight a night that Jeff Wright needs to be this aggressive? Because he walked in tied with the 18 of Alek Martinez in the standings, but he's definitely not been as consistent. So is this an opportunity for him to maybe gain some ground on the 18 before we head back to some more traditional tracks next week?
I think he really should. I think really this track and also next week at a road course, I think those are good shots for him. We've seen him done phenomenally well at the road course. In fact, winning both road course races that we've had so far this season. So he's definitely a threat there. Has not really been at a whole lot of other places, surprisingly. So he's done pretty decent with the short tracks, but not really well on the speedways.
Look at Gagnon shoving the 36 of Joshua Banks to lead on the back straightaway, and those two have been working together very well, but maybe a bit aggressive with the pushing here early. Are you concerned at all at lap 5 that we're pushing so hard?
A little bit, yeah, considering, especially at the front of the field, too. If you send someone around the front, they're taking out most of the field behind you, so you want to be a little bit careful, especially on lap 5. It was lap 105, completely different story.
So we mentioned in qualifying earlier, the speeds were around 180, 182 miles an hour average. Well, Brandon Gagnon's best lap, 193 average miles an hour, seeing well beyond that on the ends of the straightaway. So things happen fast here at Dega, and we're seeing a pretty tight pack up towards the front, and then a second group that seems a little bit, what's the word? Seems a little bit hesitatious to jump up to the front here. I think starting especially with the 31 of Bowers hanging out towards the rear.
Yeah, Gagnon's moving quite over the place. I'm not sure if he's trying to get out of line or if he's just not happy with the car. But he's quite all over the place with his line. And it's causing the outside lane to lose a lot of speed in the middle of the corner. There you see Jeff Wright in the 24 and in the 48 and the 24 Bailey Turner jump out of line to the high side. So
one of the discussions that was had this week was about the setup. This is a fixed setup league. And earlier this week, they were testing the setup and actually discovered an issue with the vehicle dynamics. And they actually sent an email to iRacing and said, there's something wrong here. iRacing actually is the one that provided this setup tonight. So I think the drivers didn't get a great opportunity to test this. You see the 36 jump up right for right. He gets turned. Trouble on the back straight.
There they go. Big one on the back straightaway already.
And it's calamity on the back straightaway on lap number 7. And a good majority of the field torn up, including one of our points leaders, Alek Martinez. He's got major damage to the nose of that car, and does Jeff Wright. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, 10, maybe 15 cars torn up in that one. And this is not what Alek Martinez wanted to see. This is not what Jeff Wright wanted to see. And both those cars are damaged probably beyond reasonable repair at this point.
Yeah, that's really not a good thing. If you're trying to win the championship, to already in the first round be at a deficit is not what you want at all.
No, we got a whole bunch of cars that are damaged. See Bruce Boyer in the 14. He's out early. Jeff Wright stay. Oh, contact on pit lane. The 14 and the 36 came together on the pit lane entrance. And trouble there for those drivers. So Martinez also is going to stay out. DeMarco Starks in the 40. He's got a bunch of damage. Let's go back and take a look at how this all kind of came together.
Yeah, it looked like it started with the 36. He came up the track a little bit into the 48.
Yeah, so let's go back and take a look here. And we're going to look at this in slow motion so we get a better idea of how this all started. So rolling through turns 1 and 2. You see the 36 of Banks, and what he's going to do is he's going to pull up in front of Jeff Wright. Kind of a late decision made here. And at the corner exit, it's such an unstable part to move up the racetrack. You see him just get turned into the fence. Hard impact here. You see Casey Lakatos get hit. He gets run into Stravato. And just Harrison Chandler gets a piece of it. Clifton Cockrell, the 20. That's Eric Mickey. And more just all torn up, and there's really nowhere you can go. Again, so early when everyone's this close together. This is just a mess here. And someone, I don't know if it was Trejo, it was the 57 of Chris Garrett, I believe, who's actually made his first start here in quite some time. We're going to ride on board with him because he had a really good view of all this. Let's ride on board here. He did an excellent job carving his way through this. It's just a junkyard. David Mott also did a very good job getting through the 3. Also torn up in this. And AJ Stravato, you talk about how much bad luck he's had this season. This is just a perfect example of that. Although he actually got away with fairly minimal damage, all things considered. He did blow a tire, though. If you actually look, this is one thing I'm concerned about is... you slide around on a lot of these tires, you will blow them out. So he's got to be a little bit...
Yeah, actually, looking at his car right now, he's only got damage on that right side door. The rest of the car is actually perfectly fine. So he's actually, I think he's pretty much good to go. Unless he got hit in the wheel. That could have knocked it out of alignment. But other than that, it's looking pretty good. But yeah, looking actually at the list, this is drivers that have actually officially left the server. We got Eli Hinton, Joshua Banks, Bruce Boyer, Jeff Wright, and Eric Mickey have all called it quits. They're not even going to try to repair their cars, and I think a few others might join them shortly here.
Yeah, again, we just watched Jeff Wright's onboard camera. You mentioned all the drivers that are out early. And soon you'll see them tagged out on the bottom of the ticker, and there's also a lot of drivers there at the bottom that are going to be gold in color, and that tells me that we've had a lot of our chase contenders wrapped up in a very, very early incident. Finney, it's lap number 7 we had that incident on. Too early for the 36 of Banks to be pulling moves like that, and unfortunately for the majority of the field, damage in that situation.
Yeah, well, on the bright side, it's going to make the playoff picture a lot more interesting with Alek Martinez and Wright at a deficit. Again, we still have to see how Alek Martinez's car is. Doubt it's going to be anything good because he took a really hard beating to the front of that car in that wreck. So I'm curious to see, how some of these guys with damaged cars, especially the chase contenders, how long they're going to continue on.
So what we have seen in the past, though, is that even fairly significant damage really doesn't seem to be that big of a deal with this new aero package here for the restrictor plate tracks. I am a little bit concerned, though, with anything really beyond what Casey Lakatos has. I don't think that car will really be raceable, at least in the lead draft for the most part of the majority of the night. But take a look at the points coming into the night. Again, this was sorted by race wins. Martinez and Wright, 2 of the drivers that have won the most races this season. Neither of them will be winning the race tonight. I don't think Martinez's car is going to be in any shape to win a race. But both of our leaders in trouble. And where's Zach Halpern? He is currently sitting in 15th place. And he doesn't have a scratch on that car, so he's looking pretty good to take over the points lead here tonight if he can just stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I'm looking at Martinez's car. It's struggling to get over 170.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how if he's going to stick it out and stay out here as long as he can to leapfrog some damaged cars, or if he's going to call it quits, because that car is going to be at least not fun and at most a hazard out there on the racetrack. So I think you got to know when to call it quits here, Finian, and this car might be too far gone to save.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to just run out there and see if he can keep a decent pace. I mean, he might as well at this point. He can only really benefit himself. So we'll see here. How bad the toll is. I mean, he's able to keep the car in a straight line at a somewhat decent pace.
So we're going to head back up to the lead, and the driver that is currently leading the race is the one that started on pole. It was Bailey Turner. He's only led 3 laps tonight. But Bryce Calusa, Brandon Gagnon, and I got to say, with everything that was going on, I would have thought the 83 would have been the one to trigger the early caution, but he managed to not do that. It was the 36 Banks that set that whole thing off. And you can't blame Jeff Wright, Finian. He had nowhere to go. He just got kind of, there was just not enough space for that 36 to go up there. And that was just too close and not enough space that early in the race to be pulling a move like that.
Yeah, and unfortunate that because Wright couldn't do anything, it caused a big pileup, and a lot of guys ended up going home, especially Jeff Wright too.
So about 10 laps in to our race tonight, you're going to see everybody from 25th on back label is out on the ticker.
It's been a really long caution.
Yeah.
I think more so than usual.
They tend to be fairly long here just anyways, but yeah, we should get the one to green this time through. Still a bunch of drivers heading on pit lane.
Oh, on the bright side, though, there's a lot of these guys with damaged cars to get a good extensive amount of repairs.
And it looks like we will get the one to green this time through. So 5 drivers listed as out of the 29 that started, leaves us with 24 left running, although I think about only 21 of those cars could be considered quality vehicles that are capable of still running up at the front. So is that our only big one tonight?
No, I don't think so. I feel like we might be due for another one later in the race. I thought we might get a big one, later in the race. I think with like under 20 to go, I felt like we would get some. Once guys start to get a little bit more dicey. I didn't expect to see in the first 20 laps.
So onto the back straightaway now, getting lined back up for the restart. It's so early in this race, there's nothing really to report on in terms of strategy. I mean, it was just, you come on down, get some fresh tires, maybe back the car back up with fuel, and just restart the race again. I mean, there's really...
Or if you need to bang a few fenders back in place.
Yeah, there's really not much to report on. I guess you got to just start the race all over. Now it's just a 100-lap race. So...
a 100-lap race and a lot of cars limping.
Yep.
Or out.
It's like ARCA. Race starting. It's like a race starting with already damaged cars.
One thing to report on, speaking of starting the race, Jeremy Miller, I've been noticing he's been having trouble getting into the server.
Yeah, that's a big deal because he was a chase competitor.
So he's gonna unfortunately have to, unless he can get back out here and on the track.
Well,
he's gonna finish in 29th.
It's worth getting in because if he can just run a couple laps, he was only got to run 6 or 7 laps to get ahead of 5 drivers, so it's totally worth his time to get in. And if he can't, I mean, it's not going to be a good night for him, but it'd certainly be a little bit better if he could just load in and run some laps.
Well, he is loaded in. We'll see if the server's going to keep him in. He's been losing connection quite a bit, so hopefully it lasts for his sake.
All right, coming back to the green flag, it'll be lap number 12 of 110. Bailey Turner and Bryce Calusa on the front row, and a whole lot of single file cars. Everyone in single file, you can assume, has been involved in or pitted because of that crash on lap 7. Green flag back in the air here at Dega. Now, do you think we're going to see everyone calm down a little bit, or do you think we'll see maybe some more aggression, knowing that there's 5 less cars in the field to make it congested?
I think we're going to start to see the aggression die down. I think we almost already saw it here. A lot of guys went single file immediately at the start, and it looks like it's a 24 and the 6 up the front, followed by Robert Gamba in the 75.
Robert Gaba is the driver that has had a fairly decent season, at least in terms of pace. Hasn't really had the finishes he deserved, but 15th to 3rd tonight already, so climbing forward and probably willing to stay here. And he actually performed quite well at Daytona earlier in the season, along with Jeremy Miller. And I have to say, I know Miller's having trouble getting in here tonight, but Miller has had a breakout season after really he was a non-factor last year, let's just say that. But this year, shot out of a cannon, won at Daytona. It was competitive at Bristol, and he's came in second in the point standings before the reset. So that 30 car, I don't know if he's a championship contender, but he's certainly going to be inside the top 5 at the end of the season. AJ Stravato, lucky to get through that accident. Finny, you mentioned he only had some right side damage. Well, up inside the top 10, still running.
Yeah, I was going to say that car again looks mostly fine. There's some guys out here with much worse cars, and they're running fine as well. So, 33, I guess you can argue, might have had a little bit of luck, not complete luck. Otherwise, he would have made it through on there unscathed. But considering he only got damage in the door, seeing the car seems to be running perfectly fine. He's sitting in 8th.
Clifton Cockrell also involved in that early collision. Oh, the 12 down on the apron, slipping and sliding. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not.
No, he got a hit from the 83 of Gagnon in the corner, and that sent him a little bit sideways and below the yellow line, but he's all good.
Here's another look at that from on board the rear bumper here. And so this was a discussion. Oh, you see a big shove there. This was a discussion in the real-life race back a couple months ago as well. Was the Chevrolets in particular have that pointed nose? Makes it really difficult to push without kind of off-centering the car in front of you.
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely does. There's something to be said with it, and German, just saying that Jeremy Miller's lost connection to the server again. So I don't think he's really going to be able to get out here and put a few laps. It's definitely going to hurt him in the playoffs. So a lot of the playoff drivers struggling so far, and considering only on lap 100, we're only lap 15 of 110. I think a lot more worse can happen to some of the guys that are remaining.
Elliot Butler looking pretty aggressive on the back of Bailey Turner, giving him a shot down the back straightaway. And Bryce Calusa, that's Angelo Hronis in the number 3 tonight, listed as 29 in the scoring, but 3 on the side of his vehicle.
Paint scheme. That 3 car. That was a fantastic scheme that Junior ran.
Senior before him.
Yeah.
But just coming across the start-finish line, and Butler, the top running chase contender, stepped out of line. He's going to get split middle 3 wide. Here's Calusa goes around him. And Hronis is going to, looks like he'll choose the 6 to stick with.
And looks like Clifton Cockrell in the 16, he's going to choose the outside lane, but they're losing a lot of time up there.
Yeah, again, I'm a little bit concerned about 3 lanes again here, Finney. I still think, I mean, I don't want to say it's too early to be racing this hard, but it's too early to be racing this hard. I mean, we saw a big wreck. We saw a big wreck on lap 7. There's no need to be running 2 and 3 wide. I mean, I would just sit in line, figure out what the runs are going to be like, find a teammate, something. But
yeah, I would be doing what the Downey Enterprise guys are doing, running back in 20th and 20th 19th. They're just kind of hanging just within the lead draft, but far enough back where if there's an incident, they have enough time to try to slow down and avoid it.
Yeah, and Halpern and Tim Downey Jr., the 26 and 25, early in the season, had some bad luck, but they've been putting some solid races together. And Halpern in particular, and Tim Downey Jr. have both gotten wins, and they both are what I would consider strong championship contenders, and they have a very smart strategy, as you mentioned.
And Jesse Pierce is going to jump up top with Adam Cabot. They're going to try to make a little bit of a march to the front.
Gagnon just scared me. Oh, no, he's slipping.
Boy.
Man, he looks like he's driving with a joystick right now. He's completely out of control, and he's still sliding.
Oh, he's going for a slide down in turn 4.
Yeah.
He's going to barely be able to save, but he's definitely going to lose the draft with that.
I think Gagnon needs to spend some time at the back of the field just sorting out the handling in this race car, because he's going to cause a wreck if he stays up at the front.
It looks like something's broken in that car to begin with or something. He's just been really loose, it seems. So I don't know what it is. This guy's running a fixed setup, so.
Yep. Doesn't have any damage that would be affecting it. He just doesn't have a grapple on what's going on right now, and it was a little scary when he was in the middle of the field getting all sorts of sideways up at the front. Butler and Turner drag racing down the back straight. And Robert Gaba giving the 24 a shove. Alex Bell creeping into the picture as well in his number 15. Again, one of the Chase competitors and had a slow start to the season, but now kind of cooking off some good finishes.
Yeah, we only got 19 drivers in the lead pack. Everyone else is kind of falling off, including Alek Martinez, who's with Lakatos. They're trying to just keep on going. They're going at 180 miles an hour to the lead pack guys that are going well over 190.
There's Caleb Weekly in the number 10, and this is his first start. He doesn't have any damage on this race car, and he might have chosen the wrong pack to stick with right now with all the damage they have, but just trying to get his first start under his belt here.
So far, they're playing pretty nice up at the front, double wide, but no one's really making a whole lot of moves. I think they're planning on at least keeping somewhat of a calm for a little bit going.
Robert Gaba kind of dancing around quite a bit there. '57 of Chris Garrett. Remember, we mentioned his absence. He's been absent for a lot of the season, focusing on their super late in the real world, and he's been enjoying that quite a bit and sharing updates within the Outsider Racing League Discord. But here tonight, running 7th. He started in 24th.
It's been a really good night, good move forward for the 57. We'll see if he can potentially muster a win out here if he can keep it up there.
So Jesse Pierce is running a TikTok sponsored race car, and this is how you know God isn't real, because he would have smited that car in the first accident tonight. That's my.
Well, he got a bit of damage after the first run.
Yeah, not enough. Not enough to convince me there's a God. Making good moves right now. Jump to the outside lane, 4th in line behind the 57.
Yeah, the night is still young though, so hopefully justice will be served. No offense, Jesse, but
poor choice. Poor choice.
Poor choice and sponsor.
But that's not how sponsorships work. Ooh, Gaba looking a little slippery into turn 3. I'm wondering, are the track conditions on this V7 tire posing a challenge to these drivers? It's been dropping as the sun's kind of getting lower in the sky in the late afternoon. But again, I'm not really sure. I haven't driven these cars on this new tire, at least in this condition, especially with all the aerodynamics at play here. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but it looks pretty slippery.
It's back down to 106 and really only cooling I can imagine a lot of it's probably in the tri-oval.
Oh yeah, the tri-oval's difficult even with perfect conditions, especially in cars with softer suspensions like the trucks. Those things bounce everywhere through the tri-oval and actually are pretty hard to hang on to. Oh no, the 75 gets turned in front of the field and caution out again. He's going to get hammered by the 40 and more cars torn up in this one. Zach Halpern comes to a complete stop to try to miss this one. And he throttles back up, but Gaba from the front of the field to the back.
Ooh, DeMarco Starks took a big hit.
Yeah, let's go back and take a look. Our second caution of the night, lap number 22. And trouble for Robert Gaba, and this time it was off the bumper of the 6 of Elliot Butler. And Starks, yeah, got drilled there, then went down to the inside wall and hammered the inside fence. I was right on board with him. You see that 75 just hammer that wall, and Starks just... And he did the smart thing, though. You saw the 41 to his inside, and Starks could have turned left and taken both of them out, but he stayed put, ended up sacrificing his own race car to save the 41.
Yeah, took a hit out of Gaba, then a big hit down to the inside wall. I can imagine that car is going to be done for the night.
Yeah, both those cars took really heavy impacts. So it's been a troublesome night so far for a lot of the field, and it's come from the front both times. Maybe some impatience still out there.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. That was a... I'm just trying to look at it. I mean, yeah, I guess I guess you can, if anything, I guess pin that on the 6 for trying to give a bump. And actually, as I say that, Brian Chambliss has just given or put blame on the accident on the 6. Brian Chambliss serving as the admin for tonight.
All right. We'll wonder if that will come through as a penalty or not. We haven't really typically seen penalties for accidents, at least as of late. But again, we have to have that communication system that if there is a penalty assigned, that we will get that information and relay it to you. Alek Martinez still out there running around with that damaged race car, Finney, and if he just gained another 2 spots, and this is why you stay out, is because other cars, as they drop, are going to give you free positions, and for a guy like Alek Martinez, that'll be very important come the end of the chase.
Yeah, and definitely, it's going to be boring. It's a lot of laps that you're not going to be running competitive with. He's got Casey Lakatos helping him out, trying to give him at least some sort of shove to keep some decent pace going. But yeah, he's at least making up some positions with a few accidents that have been happening here and there.
So on to the back straightaway, and I guess we'll take this moment while we have these long Talladega cautions to talk a little bit about website, because we had just this afternoon made some updates to it, and one of the things I added, there's still a couple issues that Finian saw earlier, like all the text turning to an ungodly shade of green, which I will fix. But one of the things we added today was a new page for Grid Life Touring Cup, and so what is that and why is that there? So Grid Life Touring Cup is the new wheel-to-wheel racing series that began in 2019 that we were invited to commentate for in real life back at Road Atlanta in August and at Gingerman Raceway in June. And those guys have been awesome to us, and we hope to return to some more events to commentate real-world racing in 2020. So some information about entering that series if you have a race car and you want to compete, the season schedule for 2020, and more information is available on our website, simtvbroadcasting.com /Grid Life Touring Cup. And then also on there will be a comprehensive driver stats spreadsheet where once I get all the information from Grid Life owner Adam Jabay, we'll have all the stats for drivers like Eric Catil, DJ Alessandrini, Tom O'Gorman, and more that you can look up top 5s, top 10s. That's basically Dan Lisa, but better for...
Dan Lisa, but still exists.
Dan Lisa, but it exists, and you can sort really nicely, and you can download the Excel document if you want to mess around with it. But it just has the list of drivers that competed in 2019 right now. It's not currently updated to actually have stats yet, but that will be updated as time goes on. So if you're interested at all in Grid Life Touring Cup, you should definitely check that out. I say if you are a NASCAR fan or you're an IMSA fan and you want racing to be more grassroots level, you want stock car racing, well, you can't get more stock car than a 2018 Honda Odyssey with a roll cage, and that is one of the cars that competes. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you should definitely head over there, and also head to grid.life for tickets, news, and other information relating to Grid Life in general for 2020. And first race is at Circuit of the Americas in February, which we hope to make it out there, and that would be the trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, it really would be awesome just to visit that facility. It's pretty much unlike any other on this continent, I guess, other than really, the Mexican GP circuit and Montreal.
It's nothing else like it on the continent. That's why they named it after the continent. Also, there was a discussion. The discussions began already for GLTC about the track limits for COTA, and I had an interesting discussion with Adam on Facebook, because he was basically saying that Super Lap Battle, which is the weekend or the series that we're sharing the track with during Circuit of the Americas, their rule is you have to have 2 tires on the racing surface at all times, and that begs the question: does the racing surface count as everything, inside
I would imagine
the white line is what I would have thought, or does that include the curbing, because that's generally accepted as part of the track? And I asked Adam, and he said he didn't know. So we're not really sure what rule is going to... But here's the thing, is this could go one of 2 ways. GLTC cars are not really that fast, so it could either be, not a big deal where they're not going fast enough to really explore the limits of the track anyway, or it'll be like Global Mazda Cup, where they're running literally from like gravel Mazda pit to gravel pit.
It's going to be that.
But the curbs that they have installed there and track out just aren't quite big enough to deter people from going out there. But You know what I want to do is if we do go to COTA, I know it's a long track, it's 3.4 miles, but if they do a track walk, I'm going on a track walk, and I will live stream that from my head-mounted GoPro. if we do a track walk at COTA, that would be cool. So, yeah, cool things. Also,
I wonder if actually if they repaved it too, or if it's gonna be bumpy when we get there. I don't think they would have, actually.
No, I don't know. I'm sure they might have repaved some of the troublesome spots, but because this would be the time to do it, because there's not a whole lot going on right now.
Right.
But I think they're not going to repave the whole place. They'll probably just repave a corner or two.
No, you would think. I would think that they would probably repave it now, or if they can, or very soon, because WC should be coming there. It's coming there the week after us.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
So,
I hope they don't. I like it bumpy. I think it's more fun bumpy. Not that I've ever driven it to know.
Jesus, it's about to get bumpy.
Well, the other thing, also, in other Grid Life news, we're still working on getting flights and accommodations for Circuit of the Americas, NCM Motorsports Park, and Pikes Peak International Raceway for 2020. All the other events, though, at least I will be. I don't know if anyone's plans aren't necessarily concrete yet, but I will be, at the very least, at Gingerman Raceway in June and October, and I will be at Road America in September. I will also be at Autobahn and Mid-Ohio in the summer.
Okay, here's the official word from motorsports.com. Circuit America is to close over the winter for major work for the bumps.
No. No.
So, bye-bye bumps.
No. Why?
So
COTA finally gets character. COTA finally gets character, then they just wipe it off over the winter.
I wouldn't say that's really... I think it went a little too far. It's also just not properly made. It was the problem, too. They didn't set the foundation properly.
Yeah, well...
It's not even like natural character like Sebring. It's just like they just failed to design it properly. Failed to build it properly.
It's like built like Michigan roads. Just potholed everywhere and just a mess.
I've never been to Michigan. Was it that bad?
Yes, it was as bad as they say. They say it's got 2 seasons, winter and construction season. All right, pace car pulling back off after our second caution of the night. And pace car is going to roll off. It's Adam Cabot and Bailey Turner in control of the restart. Still a very long way to go. Pace slowed by 2 crashes early in the night. And 5 drivers make that 6 drivers have retired. DeMarco Starks, Jeff Wright, Joshua Banks, Eric Mickey, Bruce Boyer, and Eli Hinton. Here we go. Back to the green flag, Cabot and Turner. Green flag back in the air at Talladega. So now do you think they'll calm down a little bit?
So last time I thought they would calm down, and I was proven wrong, so I have no clue. I would imagine now that they would, after 2 accidents in the first 30 laps.
We went to Daytona, race 1 of the season, we went to Daytona and only had like 1 or 2 cautions the entire race. And tonight, we had 2 in the first 25 laps.
Yeah, so far, it looks like they're played it pretty calm. The first 10 guys, all single file.
Alek Martinez running 6th right now, and that car does not look very good, but if it's going to run, he's going to try to keep it out there.
He's trying, although I think he's kind of doing the second group poorly. You see Clifton Cockrell and Halpern working on the outside lane, and they're gaining speed in the corners. I think that kind of just shows even Martinez with a push. He's not able to really keep up that well with everyone else. And you see on the straightaway, too.
Alex Bell's tucked in behind him, going to give him a shot and help him along here. And they're not going to be able to reach terminal velocity, but that car might, I mean, I wouldn't say competitive. It'll stay put in the front group if he can just keep some help behind him. If he loses the car behind him, though, he's going to be done.
Meanwhile, the top 5 loving this because Alek Martinez is doing them a favor, holding the entire rest of the pack up as the top 5 are broken away.
Yeah, no real competition here right now. Just the top 5 running nose to tail. And from 6th on back, it's Martinez in front of Bell. There's the 57 of Chris Garrett and almost got into it with Matthew Close here in the 22. And again, a relatively new driver to the series. Started 9th tonight. Guess where he is? 9th.
Clifton Cockrell. Whoa! Clifton Cockrell trying to get in line. I don't think Close wants to because Cockrell's got some damage to his nose and is off the pace.
Yeah, a bit of a stack up there in the exit of turn 2. So the driver's still trying to fit their cars into holes that aren't quite there. As the 57 dropped to the bottom, and as does the 6 of Elliot Butler. And you see the time that they're losing, and Martinez unable to close up on the Angelo Hronis machine, that yellow and blue car. You see AJ Stravato swing way out wide, going to try to drag Hronis with him.
Looks like, whoop, and also some guys out behind as well. They're going to catch the 3 and the 33, so they kind of caught up. They see Garrett around the outside with Golly. Huge run out of those guys.
Oh, this is getting dicey.
Garrett's going to go by himself.
Getting dicey here. Slow car up the road as Robert Gaba returned to the racetrack at 150 miles an hour. There's no way that car is going to be in good running condition.
At least he's on the apron, so he's trying to stay out of the way. He's trying to run some laps.
Oh, Chris Garrett going to slot into a hole right in front of the 18 of Alek Martinez. And that second group has caught the front.
I'm amazed that Martinez is actually able to keep competitive pace without it would have fallen off a little bit. And I thought guys would just pass him around, but he's actually in the middle of the pack now, so with the damaged car.
Yeah, again,
the
draft is 100% going to mask these issues. If he gets out by himself, he's not going to be able to maintain pace. But
yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to lead this race at all.
No, but he can still run easily top 10, maybe even top 5 with a little bit of luck. Considering that Jeff Wright, who had very similar damage, maybe even less than the 18, he dropped out. He's 25th. That's the best he can do tonight. You know, that was a mistake, I think, for the 48.
Yep, and field passing by Robert Gaba on the apron. Gaba's going to go 1 lap down. I'm amazed he's still out here trying to run. I thought he would have given up because he's not in the playoffs.
Haley Turner jumps up in front of Stravato. A bit of a late move there. Stravato's going to shove the 24. Chris Garrett sees an opening to his left, but he's not going to have enough of a run to get in there before the 3 fills that hole.
Yeah, Garrett really determined to get back up to the front on this restart. He's been trying to move forward as much as possible, and Stravato now looking at potentially leading this race.
Yusuf Ghali bailing out of this one, and again, only a couple laps after the restart for our second caution, already seeing the aggression level rise again. I'm a bit concerned about that. I would think we'd see a lot of single file running, but people getting a little bit greedy with all these runs.
Yeah, and if Stravato can lead this lap, it'll be the 21st lap, or sorry, he's only led 21 laps before this season entirely, so this is a good step in the right direction for this 33 here.
I see the 18 of Alek Martinez kind of got shuffled all the way back to 10th, and well, he's not quite tucked inside the group now, and he might lose a little bit of draft, not being quite so tight to this front group of race cars. So Chris Garrett going to go around for the lead, and he actually did lead that lap with an average speed of 195.476 miles an hour. That is the average speed around this 2.6 mile track.
Brandon Bowers in the 31, third on the outside lane, and I thought honestly he could have won at Richmond last week. Really good performance out of his car until it got some damage, and that really kind of took him out of the race. Yes. But still had some pretty good pace at the short tracks. I'm curious if he can.
Oh no, the 16 else behind him spinning out of turn 4. Caution. And Yusuf Ghali just going to squeeze around him, as does the 25, or 26 rather, or 25. But Clifton Cockrell out of the race. Here on lap number 34, our third caution of the night. This time, off the 83, Finian.
Oh yeah, he
just dumped him.
Gotta just clean him, yeah.
Not sure what that was all about. I hope that wasn't by accident, because if that was an accident, that was pretty poor racecraft there. If it was intentional, it was well done.
Yeah, and well, Matthew Close, he's definitely going to be happy about whichever is the case, because he took a good amount of right side damage, especially to the right front tire. So his car might be damaged a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he probably could have knocked the toe out. Alek Martinez did a good job slowing. And see the 12 of Yusuf Ghali. He's going to come into the shot from the right side of the screen here. And he just locks down the brakes, just trying to stay out of this as the 16 spun back across the track. Tim Downey Jr., the 25, hard left to miss that. But a third caution of the night. And Three very careless accidents here, Finian, and these aren't accidents I would classify as necessarily just racing incidents at Talladega. I mean, we're not even a third of the way through this race. These are just over-aggressive drivers just not quite using their heads this early.
Yeah, a bit surprising too. Across the network, a lot of the super speedway races have been fairly clean for the most part.
I'd say very clean compared to what they used to be, and especially because the drivability in these cars is back quite a bit. I mean, these are not really difficult to hustle around here, but and these aren't incidents that are caused by the cars slipping around. These are just drivers trying to get too greedy with positions on the racetrack, and there's just no need for it this early, and it's cost a lot of drivers a lot of time tonight.
Yeah, well, Alek Martinez is going to be happy about another caution because that only means his car gets faster. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Well, that's assuming that he's got something left to fix. There's only so much. I also noticed that one of the things that iRacing did to solve some of the damage model issues that were present with the F3 is they made the suspension reset every time they got into the pit box and makes these cars bunny hop. Yeah, makes the cars bunny hop. A little silly looking.
I saw that. I was like, what on earth?
Yeah.
Did the jackman show it under the rear tire?
Well, essentially what happened, what ended up happening was with the new damage model on the F3 in particular, you'd come to pit lane with damaged suspension, and the car would get fixed, and then the suspension would never get reset back to normal in the physics. So you'd end up having your tire still jacked up in the air when you left. So they basically swapped the order because whatever coating issue they had, they didn't actually fix. They just kind of changed the order how things happened. And so now,
right.
yeah, it's just it's kind of a mess. So, well, long cautions here. So I guess we'll maybe take a break here for a couple minutes, grab a drink of water. Maybe we'll be back with you in just a few minutes. So stay with us. We'll be right back for the restart.
To most, driving is just a mundane task between point A and point B. Nothing more. It's the frustration of traffic at 8 a.m. The feeling of sickness on a long ride. The car? Just a tool. It's supposed to be practical, reliable, and fast. But the speed is really the reason cars exist. Born out of a necessity to make that A to B trip just a little bit faster. Some have a deeper connection with cars, found somewhere in the bond of man and machine, a desire to be part of something bigger than yourself. It's the extension of mind and body to something more exciting than just another appliance. And these people never cared about practicality or reliability. To them, the only thing that matters is speed. We're born with a competitive nature, part of a biological necessity that is not yet worn off with time. People have raced for thousands of years, and that competition has transcended history and found its way to the industrial age. Railroads raced to build across the country, replacing the horses whose strength is still used as a benchmark for power today. And as personal vehicles became popular, the railroads died off. What once was the quickest way across the country became snail's pace in comparison. The interstate highway system expanded and cars populated every driveway. And the competition between types of transport quickly transitioned into the race to have the fastest car. Bragging rights. Manufacturers like Porsche, Ferrari, and BMW emerged in auto racing, each trying to one-up the other. Building engines became an arms race. Who could build the fastest dinosaur-powered Lancer? So while the passion for cars has died for most, there are still people that are fascinated by racing. The sights, the sounds, the smell of burning rubber and spent race fuel lingering in the air, this is what attracts us to the sport of auto racing. We are empowered by drivers that climb in impossibly fast cars and put everything on the line for the sake of competition. Drivers who know that one slip-up can lead to disaster. And for the longest time, wishing to be a race car driver was just a childhood dream. all we could ever be was a spectator. Opportunities? Limited and expensive. Reserved only for the who's who of the racing world. Until now.
To get the best result, it's all about ambition, hard work, and doing the right things right. In 1982, two Dutch brothers invented an automatic way to time RC races. The system of the company, called AMBIT, was quickly adopted by pro racing series like NASCAR and IndyCar. Automated timing for mass participation sport events was also invented in the Netherlands by Champion Chip in the early 90s, giving athletes a personal chip time of their performance. In 2008, the two companies joined forces and MyLap's sports timing was born. We never stop innovating with state-of-the-art timing systems and digital services to enhance the event experience. With our X2 platform, we bring motorsports timing to a whole new level with two-way communication. Our event app and photo video create the ultimate event experience for athletes and fans with live data and personal content like photos and videos. SpeedHive provides a pro-level racing experience for amateur and club events by analyzing personal data. We capture performances of over 20 million racers and athletes every year and use live data to spark emotions. MyLap's. Experience progress.
Welcome back live to SimTV for Outsider Racing League. The first round of the chase here at Talladega Superspeedway. It's been slow progress so far. 3 cautions marring the first 37 laps of this race. Still a long way to go tonight. Adam Cabot is in control of this thing. Brennan Bowers on the outside. Finian has been a troublesome night so far. What do drivers have to do to keep themselves out of trouble for the rest of the night?
I would say pretend you're in highway traffic and just stay in lane. I think is what these guys should probably do. That's what I would be doing. Again, the 26 and 25 have been doing it all night long. I think that's honestly the way to go, especially with the way this is turning out so far with a lot of DNFs.
We started with 29. We're down to 21. And the green flag's back out here at Talladega. Cabot fires off. Now that the field size is reduced a little bit, Finian, how does this change the plate racing here at Talladega? Does that make drivers a bit more willing to work with drivers that are not their teammates, or do you think it makes the team alliances more important?
I think it makes the team alliance more important. Well, if you have teammates remaining in the race, which I think everyone has at least someone to work with. Yeah, I definitely, try to work with them as much as possible. And also just to make sure to kill a little space, you don't actually turn your teammate. Just seeing me do your problems tonight, not sure if it's anything in particular, but just to keep things safe again. We're only on lap 39 of 110, so quite a bit ways to go. But yeah, just kind of find your teammate and just kind of hang out, I think, in line. At least try to stay in the lead pack.
Also, what time of day is it here? Because it seems like the shadows are getting kind of long here. I'm wondering if we might have a lighting issue by the end of this thing.
It's currently 16:57 military time.
Well, that's not. It's only like 4. It's 5 o'clock. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So We shouldn't run into a daylight issue. It's going to be certainly close to dusk by the time this race is complete.
Yeah, it's definitely going to take us quite a while to finish this race out still. So, yeah, we might run with the sun setting a little bit.
So AJ Stravato, I remember back a couple seasons ago, it was the number 9 on the side of this car, and had some bad luck. He switched back to 33, and for a short time it seemed like luck had turned around, but not this season. He has had a miserable time, although he did manage to make the chase, and tonight has gone well so far, but he just desperately needs some solid finishes.
Yeah, I mean, again, if things do go well, I'm going to be knocking on my wooden desk here. You know, he can be looking at a really solid finish tonight to give him quite a bit of playoff points. In fact, he's actually the second highest playoff driver with Elliot Butler being the only one in front of him.
Matthew closed in the 22, got some right side damage in that most recent collision. It hasn't seemed to affect him so far. How about Matt White in the 70? We haven't really discussed him at all yet tonight. Great looking paint scheme on that 70 this evening, but started in 29th, which was dead last. He's up to 8th right now and has kept his nose clean so far, but must be feeling a little bit braver to be moving up so far in the field.
Yeah, and you know, you feel a little bit more confidence the more you're running in the Strav, making some moves, so you guys start to get a lot more confident. He's currently up there right behind Alex Bell, and let's see, Chris Garrett found his way to the front yet again and immediately takes a run to the outside.
Bowers leads that lap up in front. Cabot on the inside with pole sitter Bailey Turner right behind him. See, Alex Bell got the rear end of that thing all torn to shreds, but good news is the rear bumper doesn't really matter a whole lot in this track.
Yeah, and speaking of bumpers, looking at Alek Martinez, on the last restart, he's kind of lucky to be surrounded by people. Fortunately, this restart is a little bit more towards the back, and no one wanted to work with him with a damaged car, and he's fallen. He's been losing time drastically to the rest of the field.
He's got Caleb Weekly tucked in behind him, who's been pretty loyal to the slower drivers so far, so looks like he might be able to have a buddy, at least for now. Working about 10 laps still halfway here, maybe a little bit more than that. 3 wide in the front of the field here. Bowers up the middle, Butler on the bottom, and Pierce up top.
Bowers trying to get to the front of the field. He's got the 70 Matt White helping him. Justin Pierce and Alex Bell on the outside teammates. They're going to be dropping to the back.
So now that we've had a little bit of time to get some of the drivers up towards the front, is there anybody that stands out to you as having a particularly good night here? I'd say Bailey Turner hasn't dropped outside the top 5 yet, and Adam Cabot has kept his stay up here so far and really hasn't dropped outside the top 5 either. So I'd say those two are probably the ones I'm looking at probably the potential winners for this race.
Yeah, they look really patient, look like they know what they're doing, too, with these cars. Not a whole lot of moving around, really stable to the inside line. And, again, as you said, stayed up in the front. So, which, considering how easy it is to pass with this newer package, that definitely does mean something again. So, you see them both move back to the outside, trying to pass 70-31. I think we definitely want to keep attention to this pair and see how they do.
Yeah, working together very well as they're going to swing right around the 31 and 70 and bringing the 6 of Elliot Butler with them. 4 Chevrolets lined up on the outside, a Mustang and a Camry on the bottom.
Yeah, all 3 teammates for Supercharged Racing are running 1, 2, 3 now as Elliot Butler gets cleared for 3rd.
And Butler's going to try to drop down in front of the 31. He gets there in time.
Yeah, so these Supercharged guys, I think they definitely know what they're doing up here in the front. And they're looking to potentially put a control in the rest of the field, which should be a lot easier to do now that the field's dwindled.
Bowers swings to the outside in front of Stravato to block that run, and now you see Matt White going to try to fill that hole in his Toyota Camry. And take a look at the manufacturers. Not a surprise, most of the field is Chevys. It makes sense that most of the top 15 are Chevys, but a couple cameos from a trio of Toyotas and a duo of Fords up there as well. Bit of bump drafting in the outside lane, the 33 and 31 working together.
Yeah, pushing that one of the only 2 Fords left in the race up to the front to lead a lap.
This time by it'll be 10 laps to halfway here at Talladega. And pace has picked up slightly since the most recent restart. And, the good news is when you take out 7 or 8 cars like we have so far, things tend to get cleaner and greener because there's just not as many cars. It's not as congested. You have more room to race. You have more space. It's just harder to make a mistake when there's less cars around you.
Yeah, it definitely is, and we'll keep we'll have to see if this does go green in the end, which it definitely can be, because we only have 12 cars running up in the lead pack. Then it goes a little bit further back to the next group of guys, led by Zach Halpern and Tim Downey Jr.
I still like the strategy that the 26 and 25 are playing. I'm worried a little bit that they've lost quite this much time, because we've seen in the past, remember back at Daytona, we had a second group that just laid back way too far over the course of the green flag run and didn't get a caution to tighten it back up. So they got to be conscious of the time that they're losing.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily did this on purpose. I think they got caught up with Weekly, Martinez, Gagnon, and Mott and trying to get past around them. So I think they lost quite a bit of time. We'll see if they are on the loud pedal this entire time as they try to draft back up to the lead pack. Because, yeah, I do agree they lost quite a bit of time.
Well, they're not closing in either. They were 2/10 slower that lap, so I'm a bit concerned about their ability to close that gap back up without the help of a caution. Now, good news is there's still enough cars in the front group that I could see a caution being a possibility, but I wouldn't completely rest my laurels on that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely won't end anything, especially at this point. Although, as I say that, Stravato gets out of line, 3 wide for a second.
That was a weird moment. Popped up to the outside groove and then tucked back in. I'm not sure if he's trying to cool the engine or something, but it looked unintentional.
It could have been to just get a little bit of air to the engine, but he's tucked back in, so I think he's all right.
You see Yusuf Ghali kind of tagged on the end there, and this is a story that we didn't really cover tonight, is how close he was to getting into the chase, and he won a couple of races, late in the season after having a miserable start. Just unfortunate that he's not going to get the chance to run, because I feel like he would be a championship contender if he had the chance, but you can't, just show up the last 3 races before the chase and start expecting to be in it. You have to perform all season long. He didn't do that, and that's why he's outside the chase.
Yeah, and it is unfortunate because he really started to finally get things going in the right direction for him. But yeah, unfortunately, it was a little too late. He's actually backing off quite a bit too, trying to stay a little arm's length away from the rest of the pack.
Bowers continues to lead from the outside as Gagnon hits pit lane here, Finian. I'm not really sure what's going on with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. That's
too early, only 15 laps into a run here.
He towed a bit.
Oh. An issue there? Or I didn't see what happened.
I don't think there was an issue. I think he just pulled off, and yeah, he just kind of pulled off and called it a day, I think.
Into turn 3. This front group is tightening up a little bit here, Finian, and making me a bit nervous, but still a long way to go until pit stops as well. So, again, you have to wonder, with this many laps left to go, what are we racing for here? Maybe to the halfway point, but that seems like they're racing pretty hard for that one point.
Yeah, I guess they are. I mean, what a point is a point, I guess, and these guys want it.
Also, a penalty that I didn't see happen because I wasn't really looking for it was the 82 of Bryce Calusa. This was about 6 minutes ago. He had to come down and do a stop and go for a pit road violation. So that is why he is a lap down and running behind everybody. So he's already come and served that penalty, so he's good.
Unfortunately, he's really far behind the rest of the field. I think he's going to be open for caution.
Out of turn 4 now, coming to the start-finish line. 5 laps till halfway. You see Jesse Pierce popping out of line. 3 wide for about 3rd place, but Bailey Turner sitting in behind the 77. There's a lot of drivers up here that are not competing in the chase, and they don't care where they finish this race in particular. They just want to win. So it's not about points for them. It's not about conserving. It's about getting the victory. And we head to Watkins Glen next week. If you thought tonight was a wild card, that totally turns everything upside down because we've only done a couple of road races this year, and those end up being pretty wild as well. So you can't feel safe if you're a chase driver, especially with drivers that see this track and Watkins Glen as an opportunity to get a one-off win.
Unless your name is Jeff Wright, in which case I think you got a really good, solid shot of winning the race after he's won the first 2.
He's going to need to because he gave up after the accident. Yeah. I mean, we don't know the extent of his damage, but 25th place is not going to cut it. You're not going to win the championship with the finish that poor in only a 6-round chase.
Yeah.
Working lap number 52 now of 110, about 48 minutes in this race.
And actually, the field catching up on Casey Lakatos now, as well as Bryce Calusa.
Yeah, Lakatos is all by himself. Again, damage received in that first incident of the night was one of the main drivers that got kind of clobbered in the center of all the chaos. And he's about to go a lap down, and you mentioned Bryce Calusa just up the road. His car's fine, so he can get in the draft and potentially get a free pass, as Harrison Chandler has already gotten lapped.
Here's the problem, though. Bryce Calusa is going to go 2 laps down. He's already 1 lap down.
Good point. That's a problem. He's going to have some work to do.
And Casey Lakatos, now, if he can try to hang on to this pack here, he will be the first car a lap down.
Not a whole lot of teammates to work with here either, as Alek Martinez is back in 17th. And he's in no man's land as well. He's off the pace and out of the draft.
Looking up front, not a whole lot of action's been going on. It looks like these guys have kind of found a good place to kind of relax for a little while. I imagine we're coming up on pit stops.
Well, you know, we've only run 20 laps, so I'd think we'd have to go quite a bit longer. Tim Downey Jr., Zach Halpern, and David Mott, I'm really concerned about these guys, Finney, because these guys are fast enough to be running in the lead pack, but they got shuffled out. And they're going to go a lap down at this rate. They need to figure out something because they are not going the right direction.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to why they're not really going the right direction. I guess they're not pushing, but I mean, actually, to say that, I'm looking at them. Halpern's giving Downey a shove. They're just not finding pace, it seems.
Well, and this package definitely benefits cars the more that you have in a group because the draft is so powerful. So if you have 15 cars, you're going to be going faster than if you have 5 cars. Granted, you need to be very organized to do it, but that organization level doesn't need to be perfect. You can have an imperfect organization and still be going pretty quick, as the lead group is right now. As you see, Bowers continues to kind of nibble away at this lead from Adam Cabot. Bowers tonight has led 5 laps. Cabot has led 22. Bailey Turner in third has led 16 laps tonight.
Surprisingly, Hughes dropped to the tail end of this pack. I thought he would have been up there trying to fight for the lead spot. It looked like he was one of those drivers that really just wanted to lead almost every lap that he could, but he's just kind of hanging out towards the back end of the field at the moment.
This is our halfway point right here, lap number 56 of 110. 3 cautions slowing the progress here early. Since then, it's been clean and green halfway here in Outsider Racing League Chase Race 1.
Cabot by 13,000 of a second over Brandon Bowers.
Onto the back straightaway now, and that bottom lane starting to build momentum, and the outside starting to die just a little bit. And I think this is where we're going to start to see people settle in and get ready for the long haul here.
As you say that, Brandon Bowers is just able to hang ahead on that outside lane, and no, not quite able to close the door. Almost had it.
Yeah, he looked like he was about to commit, but the 77 was putting pressure on him to jump back out of lane. And Stravato will re-pick up the 31, and they'll continue to run nose to tail. And now they're starting to bring in Alex Bell and the 22 of Matthew Close from behind. Chris Garrett, again, we mentioned how long it's been since he's been running up here competitively, and it's got to be a good return for him. He's dodged a couple bullets tonight, made it through that first wreck on lap number 7, and since then, he has been up front for 1 lap. But again, I'm just keeping my eye on this 57 because I know how capable he is, and it just seems like he's just biding his time and to be a force later tonight.
He's just backed out to let Matt White in line, so he's really just playing it really conservative at the moment.
Remember, we touched on Matt White starting dead last tonight, up to 11th. Has tasted the lead, not quite yet tonight. and has some right side damage, but doesn't really seem to be affecting him a whole lot. As Cabot and Bowers, they've got to be getting tired running side by side like this for so long, but again, now it's a battle to see who can lead the most laps tonight, which I believe it's the 70, is it the 77?
I would imagine so.
He's led 25 laps of the 58. I'm pretty sure that's the most we've had this evening.
Now it looks like Chris Garrett's tired of waiting. He just went 3 wide in the back. Looks like he's trying to make a little bit of a charge to the front.
I think what he's seeing is how passive everyone's gotten. No one's really making moves right now, and this is a prime opportunity to grab some track position. You see him side draft right by a bunch of these outside group cars. So I like this call here, Finney. You see that everyone's being passive and not being aggressive. This means that you have an opportunity to gain track position easily without them fighting you hard for it, although he's going to need some help to get there.
Yeah, it looks like he kind of backed out of it. Maybe he was just testing the waters to see how much a lunge would take. He's just kind of playing passenger, and now it looks like he's just trying to drop back in line where he was earlier.
Second group, ooh, bit of a block there by the 15 and the 17 and the 31, all kind of getting chased up the racetrack. Tim Downey Jr., Zach Halpern, and David Mott Jr., they're now 17 seconds, or about 16.3 seconds back from the lead, and 15 back from the pack. They're losing almost 3/10 a lap right now. Actually, much more than that. They lost almost a second last time.
Yeah, I'm not sure really what more these guys can do. It looks like they're trying to push to catch back up, but yeah, I think they're just kind of out of options at this point, except for a caution.
Yeah, so Tim Downey Jr. is entering the trioval now. Adam Cabot is exiting turn 2, so they're getting close to a half a lap down at this point, which is going to be very difficult to come back from without a yellow.
Catching up to Alek Martinez and about to put him a lap down.
Yeah, and you know what? For Alek, this is going to sting a little bit, but he shouldn't care. He's still out here running. He's gained a bunch of spots that he would otherwise not have. I know this is going to be a painful race to run, but you know, last season this would have been, he would have left this race the second he got any damage. And the fact that he's staying out here and running laps because he is a championship contender, and he's not giving up on himself, and that's the most important change we've seen in his character this season. And I think it's been a huge change for the better, not only in his results, but also in his demeanor.
Yeah, and he's really matured as a driver, which is hilarious to say because he's only 13. So has a lot of actual maturing to do.
Yeah.
But, he's getting past the field. But, yeah, definitely props to him for sticking out here, with the championship fight in mind. Again, he's looking bigger picture here. And it's definitely going to help him later on.
Yeah, there's been some shaky moments this season. You remember back to Atlanta when on lap number 2 he took out about half the field, and he was profusely apologizing for that and apologized to everybody over and over and over again. He would not have done that in seasons past, and to see him do that this season, he owns up to his mistakes. And he's just been so good that I think he's gained the mutual respect. Once he puts his helmet on and climbs in the race car, gained the respect of his peers, and they all view him as a threat week in and week out, which I think has changed a lot of opinions on him in this season. So it's been a good change. I know tonight is not going great for him, but again, it's all about looking at the glass half full, and the glass half full is that a lot of his competitors are out right now. Jeff Wright being the most important, that has found a collision here early in the going. And for Alek Martinez, every time he goes to Watkins Glen, or any road course for that matter, he looks at Jeff Wright as the driver to beat. Well, if he's got a big points cushion going into Watkins Glen, it's not going to matter that much next week. You got your drivers hitting pit lane.
Stops.
Cabot's coming in. We've seen this be a trouble spot. Ooh, that was way fast for a lot of drivers, but I think they got it woed down.
Yeah, it was pretty much the entire field, except for the entire lead pack, except for Matt Close, who is the only one left out on the track of the leaders and not a lap down.
Well, that was probably one of those you probably should have come moments, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everyone into their pit stall, and it looks like everyone made it to their box okay.
That was about a 30-lap stint. Matthew Close still rolling around as field rolls back off pit lane, and it's a mad scramble coming out of the pits. Look at that.
And they are really lucky that you can drive through some people, at least on pit.
Oh, no, that's 33 and 31 almost got together there, and now the 18 of Martinez tried to go up the outside of the 33, couldn't quite fit and funneling down to get on the apron for turn 1. That was a dicey moment. And Matthew Close hits pit lane. This is going to be disastrous for him in terms of track position.
Yeah, and meanwhile in the pack, it looks like Adam Cabot's going to use Casey Lakatos a little bit as a pick to try to get a little bit of draft. He's going to shoot himself back up to the lead around the outside of Yusuf Gali.
Elliot Butler's up here as well. Remember, he was the runner-up in the championship last year. Are we underestimating him this season, Finney? And he looks like he's having a really solid run tonight, and he's been good in recent weeks.
Yeah, I definitely think so. He's definitely looking more and more like a threat week in, week out.
This is split up this pack just a little bit. Matthew Close exiting his box. He's going to get blown right by here as he rolls on the apron.
Looks like we're going to lose Matt White, and he's fallen way back behind the field.
And Close is going to try to slot up and grab somebody's draft here, but it's going to be tricky.
Ooh, I think Jesse Pierce, he had a speeding penalty. Yeah. Oh, actually, Jesse Pierce, he actually spun on the apron and went up the track.
Oh, is that where he got a penalty from? Is this on track out here, or pit out?
Yeah.
So let's take a look at what happened to the 17 as he oh yeah, I cannot believe that didn't trigger a caution. But here is the look at the 17. He was all by himself as he rolled out of pit lane and gonna get on the apron, and just a lazy spin to the inside and bounced over the grass and slid up onto the racetrack and back down. So that gave him a penalty for what will be pit out lane violation. Which he has already come and served. So up at the front, it's Adam Cabot leading the way, Elliot Butler in second, and Bailey Turner on the outside trying to grab some of those spots back that he lost in pit lane, but no help on the outside right now. They're all single file on the bottom.
And you can definitely see, looking at these guys, we lost quite a few guys. Also about to lose Matthew Close. He's hanging on for dear life, but he's losing the draft now.
And AJ Stravato and Bailey Turner just switched positions. Now Stravato's all by himself, but he's been working with Brandon Bowers all night. I wonder if the 31 will jump up there to help him. No, it's the 24 that will jump to the outside lane.
I think Stravato's dropping back so he can pick up Angelo Hronis, and they're going to filing behind each other.
Well, now Stravato switched back to the bottom, and as you mentioned, and the 57 jumps up to Bailey Turner, and Turner catches the 6 on the outside as well.
Meanwhile, at the front, the 6 and the 24 jump out of line to pass their teammate, so I'm not sure what's going on here. I guess they're changing order, maybe? We're just trying to control both lines.
Yeah.
It's going to be Elliot Butler back at the line that'll lead this lap.
Bit of a confusing switcheroo there between a couple drivers as they all try to find a better place in line to sit. And it's neck and neck on the back straightaway, working lap number 67. Had 25 lead changes so far in 67 laps. Almost one every 3 laps here. Or should I say more than one every 3 laps?
Yeah, Chris Garrett, though, he's building up a run here. He's got Alex Bell. He's been sitting quiet pretty much the entirety of the last run we had. And Aria's back up trying to fight for the lead,
yeah,
although he's got very little hope.
I'm telling you, this 57 is going to be a threat tonight. I like how patient he's been. I like how he's been cautious, waiting his way through the tail end of the field when he was back there early in the race. And he started his event in 24th up to 3rd now, and just continues to impress just with his caution and pace that he's brought to this event. I'm really liking. This is how you approach a race at Talladega, Finn. You're careful at the beginning, and as the race goes on, you get more and more aggressive.
Yeah, and behind them, Matthew Close is currently running in 10th. He's found help from Bryce Cluse, and both of them are trying to work their way back into the back. Cluse is still 2 laps down after having to serve a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, that's a painful penalty to get here, Finney. And we talk about Bryce Cluse this season. It's been a relatively good season for him. He's had some moments of greatness and started 3rd tonight, had a great qualifying effort, ran up in the front early, but again, kind of trapped a couple laps down now, and looking like at this point in the race, he's probably going to be stuck here for most of the rest of the night. This is your group. I think this is who we'll be working with unless we get another caution. Your winner will probably come from this smattering of your top 9 drivers. Yusuf Ghali, the driver at the tail end of this group, and you see Matthew Close, he has dropped 1.7 seconds back, and he's picked up Kalusa, and this pair might be able to catch this front pack if they're really good, but we'll see if they can get there.
They're making decent progress. It's not extremely fast progress, but it's progress nonetheless.
Lap number 70. Next time by will be 40 laps to go. About 33 minutes of racing remaining. Alex Bell has got the most damage of anybody in this front group, and it's mostly in the back, which has been helpful tonight, but I'd be worried about pushing this 15 car. Finding why?
Yeah, no, that's just really because there's nothing really much to push, honestly, in the car. So, yeah, because there's not much to push, I mean, guys really can't get behind him, otherwise they might end up turning him, and that would be disastrous. So if anything, 15 is going to tend to be shoving someone to the front, and, well, I would have said it would have probably been Justin Pierce, but Justin Pierce had that incident coming off of pit road that gave him a penalty, so he's well gone from the rest of the field, so he's pretty much by himself.
So Matthew Close and Bryce Kalusa have caught this front group, but Chris Garrett dropped out, and he's dropped out quite a bit. And hopefully he can still tag back on to the end of this, because he's going to have no help here if he loses this.
He's definitely got it. It's really amazing how much you can lay back with this package and still be able to draft up. And you can see the run he's building up on Yusuf Ghali. I actually forgot, 15 and the 12 are teammates, so Bella and Ghali work together.
See Stravato pop out of line in the 33 up to the high side as well. And Stravato, could this be his night where he finally turns his luck around and gets a race win here? Now he's had a couple solid runs this season, but the bad luck just continues to strike for the 33. Maybe tonight is his night. And out of all places to have a lucky night, Talladega is a good place to do it.
Yeah, you could argue maybe it's all been building up for this race coming up here. So I hope for his sake that he gets a good finish in. I think really he's earned it. I mean, he's also looking like he could finish pretty well at the road course next week. Yeah, he's done pretty well at them. Yeah,
he finished either second or third at Silverstone early in the season. So we know he's
sixth at Sonoma.
Yeah, so we know he's good at the road course stuff. And again, if he wins this race, he walks into that race as a points leader, which he was nowhere near the points lead. He just barely made it into the chase. He was the last seed. So, this could really turn the season around. This could be the turning point for Stravato tonight. I would be a little bit cautious if I'm him. Don't get too aggressive and throw it all away. I'm more the gyro cam here with Yusuf Ghali as he works through turns 1 and 2 and on the high lane right now. And he's been very generously leaving large gaps from the drivers in front of him. And I like this, the safety factor he's leaving here. Enough space and time to move about if he needs to.
Here comes Chris Garrett with a run to the outside. Going to go all the way to the outside of the 82.
You know what Garrett's been exploring tonight that I've seen is he's really trying out the side draft as well, which isn't an effect that I've really seen be effective in iRacing until recently. And it has actually turned out to be quite effective, especially in the K&N Impala. But maybe this package in particular has something for it too. And Garrett looks like he's experimenting right now. Bailey Turner back to the lead in the number 24, our pole sitter tonight. The 6 of Elliot Butler tucked in behind him. Then it's Stravato, Cabot, Alex Bell, Brandon Bowers, Matthew Close, Angelo Hronis, Yusuf Ghali, Chris Garrett, your top 10.
Yeah, and also look a little bit further back. Tim Downey Jr. and Zach Halpern have gotten past Matt White, as well as Caleb Leakey, who's also moved himself up into 13th. And I mean, all things considered, in their first race to finish 13th, that's not half bad.
Well, all you got to do at Talladega is stay out of trouble, and that's what Weekly's done. And again, this is only his first start. I'm curious to see how he'll do at the road course next week in Watkins Glen. And keeping his nose clean. I like this 10, and yeah, it started in 28th up to 13th, so not a half bad night.
Yeah, indeed, and even too for Halpern and Tim Downey. I know they lost the draft, but I mean, if they finish where they're running right now, 12th and 11th again for championship competitors. I think that's a solid finish, especially because they're beating their main competition, beating Martinez and Wright. I
think that's something to keep in perspective is that I don't think we're going to magically see drivers get better or worse throughout the chase. I think we're going to see more of what we already saw. So for Downey and Halpern, they're trying to beat the 18. They're trying to beat the 48. I think you're right. Their only competition that they're concerned about. The other car would be the 30 of Jeremy Miller, who didn't make it into the race, and thus no concerns about points for him this week.
Big run on the outside lane for the lead. Everyone getting smashed up on the outside together like a sandwich.
Yeah, approaching a lap car. That's Harrison Chandler on the 91. This is going to get real dicey through 3 and 4. 3 wide here as they pass the lap traffic.
And Stravato might have a run here off the corner on the outside lane. We'll see how much of a shove the 15 is going to give.
Oh, man.
And even the 12 and the 57 are mounting up something on the outside as well.
A little dicey through the trioval here over the bumps as they come to the line this time through. It looks like it will be Turner that leads that lap by a nose.
Ooh, 2,000ths of a second now.
Almost 30 laps to go. Getting down to the nitty-gritty here, Finney. It'll be probably, one more pit stop, you think? And that'll be it. 15 laps. Another 15 gets you to about lap number, 90-ish? 92?
92, yeah. So that's more than enough.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. That'll be definitely more than enough. So I think we'll see one more stop, and it's just a matter of when. So do you think they'll make that a little earlier than 92 and just maybe go at 85?
I would run it out the tank as much as I can, or at least until everyone comes down, I think, which I think most people would just run out the tank. There's not really much advantage of just short pitting it. If anything, you run a risk of being cut off sequence, or if a caution comes out. I think put a lap down and having to get that back, and that's a whole mess. So I think most of these guys might just try to run out the tank just in case.
Bailey Turner, again, your pole sitter tonight. He has led 26 laps tonight. Adam Cabot, who's running third, has led 31. So that battle for the most laps led tonight still up in the air. Stravato and Bell got real dicey into turn 3.
It looked like Bell made a move. Stravato was trying to go with them, and unfortunately mistimed on 33 part. That could have been dicey.
So as the laps start to tick down, when I start really considering the race almost over is about 20 laps to go, and that's in about 12, 13 laps, and that's when our ticker starts counting down, and that's when the drivers start to get a little bit more amped up. They start to get a little bit more aggressive, sticking their cars in places that they might not fit very well, which is what we saw in the beginning of the race when we had our trio of cautions in the first 30 laps.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, with the amount, considering we only have 10 cars on the lead lap in this lead back, we might see that really only with 10 to go. I don't really see why guys would be making moves with 20 to go. That's still, relatively speaking, at a track like this, it's still pretty early to make a move to get yourself over, especially with only 10 competitive cars.
So the other discussion about this, I know this is a little bit early to be talking about, is the last lap maneuvers that we're going to see. In the past, you couldn't make it. Yeah, Chris Garrett snuck up the outside there. In the past, you couldn't make a last lap move. You had to be leading in the last lap. Do you still think that, or do you think you should wait? Because we have yet to see really people get organized very well to be able to make those last lap moves. But I think that if the energy is there, it'll be easy.
Yeah, I know it really is easy. In the past, with the older cut package we had before on the super speedways, it was really bad. It was really hard to pass. You pretty much had to be leading at the last lap, where you need a lot of things to go your way to be able to make a pass on the last lap. Now it's easier than ever before to try to make a run. As long as a car is present on another lane, you can draft up to them and give them a shove, or even rocket around the outside with a run. So it's a lot easier to pass, and I think you could definitely make not even just a last lap pass, but a last corner pass.
30 laps to go this time through, and this is your pit window open. So anytime from here to the end of the race, you can begin your pit stop cycle, and you can make it to the end on fuel. Although I would stay out a couple more laps just to guarantee yourself you can make it on a green-white checkered, which we will have at least 2 of if we were to have a late race caution.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. So you definitely want to take that into effect. So at that point, I mean, there's not really much point pitting early at all.
Casey Lakatos going another lap down, and puts him 3 laps down to the leaders. And Chris Garrett, we've been watching him build these runs, and he's just playing around. And it's interesting to watch him experiment, because he's not doing this just for fun. He's doing this to learn about how far he can go by himself, how big of a run he needs, how much draft he can use. And I think this is going to be very important towards the end of this race. We might see Chris Garrett work by himself and get himself to the lead.
Yeah, no, this is definitely information you want to figure out now, not on the last lap. So it's definitely good right now, test out the waters. Yeah, because pretty much I would imagine the pack something like this, you know, the way they're running in this kind of order. By the time they reach the white flag or 2, 3 to go. So yeah, this is definitely a great place to try to test these guys out, see what they've got, you know, how much does it take to really build up a run.
Sun getting lower in the sky, maybe some glare off into turn 3 for some of these drivers. That could be of concern as we tick down these laps.
You know, you're talking a lot about Chris Garrett, you know, kind of laying back, but Yusuf Ghali's also been kind of doing the same thing.
So you talk about Yusuf Ghali, and again, we talked about a little bit earlier in this race when because he missed the chase only by a couple points. But remember, he started the season in a Ford at the time. It was I believe it was a Fusion. Did we start the season with a Ford or Mustang? I feel like it was the Fusion still.
I feel like it was a Fusion as well.
Might have been. Either way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
We started the season he started the season with the Ford. Then he transitioned to a Toyota back at ISM Raceway. What did he do out there? He went out there and won that race. And he's racked up a couple victories here, Finney. And you take a look at this, and I don't think that, obviously he can't be a championship contender, but I do think he could steal some race victories. We know how good he is. And you mentioned he's just kind of hanging out here. He's doing exactly all the right things. I don't know if he'll win this race tonight, but he certainly will be a factor in at least 4 of the 6 chase races beginning after Watkins Glen. So I think there's some races we've got to keep an eye on this 12 car for, because he could steal them from our chase contenders.
Yeah, and you know, especially too considering the fact you were talking about he's not a chase contender. That's I think even worse for some of these guys, because he has nothing to lose. He only has stuff to gain by winning races, so he's really gonna throw it out there and try to, I think, get some victories before the start of next season. And I can only imagine how he's going to look there, and if he can continue this momentum, we might see him at the solid championship contender next season.
Chris Garrett again on the outside at 3 and 4 was still playing around with the draft to see Alex Bell kind of getting driven by there on the outside groove. And it'll be 25 laps to go next time by. And maybe some calm before the storm. The front 6 getting single filed out. Matthew Close also in the 22. He's been pretty strong here as of late after he almost lost the draft. He's back up here, and he's got some right front damage, but he's been pretty competitive since he got back in the pack.
Well, there really isn't much else to talk about. I also want to bring up the fact that I'm pretty sure he's got Harambe on his car.
On the
At least
front?
on mine.
On the front, rear, where?
On the front, on the sides. Yeah, on the rear as well.
On the 22?
Yeah?
I'm not seeing that.
You're not seeing that?
Nope.
Oh. Alright, well.
I'm seeing
I see a Gorilla.
ETV Live paint scheme with black and red and blue.
Interesting.
Do you see ghosts too?
I'll send you a picture after what I'm looking at. I am not.
Send me a picture now.
All right.
I want to see it. Maybe I'll put it in chat. Send it through Discord if you can. I'll put it in chat, or put a link to it in chat. So Bailey Turner continues to lead, 24 laps to go this time by. And all single filed out. And now the chess match begins. Also, remember, we're going to share the Discord link with the funny paint scheme that Finian can see. We'll share that in the chat. If you want to join our Discord, make sure you click the link in the video description that will take you to our community, which involves all of the leagues that we broadcast with, and you can interact with the drivers, teams, and administrators if you're interested in joining any of the leagues on SimTV. And this is a great time to do it because the only active leagues right now are the Grid Life iRacers group and the Outsider Racing League. So every other league is really off for the season. So as we see a bunch of cars hit pit lane here.
Yep, green flag pit stop's the last, what should be the last stop of the night.
A nice clean entry for a lot of these cars. Oh, that is definitely Harambe on the car. I shared the link in the YouTube chat again if you want to join our Discord. Make sure you click that link. Anyway, up front, we've seen Bailey Turner and Butler and Cabot all stay out. I would expect them to come this time through.
Yeah, but I would imagine that they have to come at some point. They're going to only just be losing a little bit of time. Not a whole lot at this point because there's still at least 3 of them in that pack. But yeah, I think you want to peel up sooner rather than later. Here they come on down.
And fairly clean entry. A little bit dicey there as Cabot tries to go middle 3 wide. Turner locked up a touch, as did Kalusa behind them. And you see Tim Downey Jr., Halpern. Actually, Tim Downey Jr. and it is Halpern, yep, pulling off of pit lane. They're struggling with their night after they got kind of swamped. And up front, Matthew Close did a 2-tire stop, Finian, but he's all by himself and slowing up to pick up Brandon Bowers here, and it looks like Bowers will pick him up. And Bowers did take a 4-tire stop, but they are out and ahead of everyone else by quite a bit.
I mean, more power to them. I don't think it's going to last, but props for trying.
Well, I don't think tires really going to make a difference. So it's all about the track position, and they're going to get some of that here. It's a question of whether or not they can hold it with a larger group chasing them down.
I don't think so. I would like to imagine so. It'll be a heck of a move for it.
Oh! Wow.
He almost just had a face full of concrete right there.
Oh,
wow.
Butler crosses over, and the 22 is going to dive for the inside line. And Butler's got the lead, but he's going to use the 82 as a pick here to kind of try to keep these guys back, but Kalusa's got a good run.
Yeah, I was going to say, that pretty much allows the rest of the field to come up. Here comes Bailey Turner and Adam Cabot with a heck of a run.
Man, here they come. They're going to swing to the outside here, I'd imagine. No, they're going to push the 6.
Teammates sticking together, working together here. I don't know if it's going to bite him because here comes the 15 and the 33.
Man. Getting dicey.
Here we go, 3 wide.
Next time by will be 20 laps to go. The last 18 minutes of this race. 3 wide for 5th place right now. Up in front is the 6 of Elliot Butler. The 33 of Stravato dives to the inside of the 15, picks up the 77.
Bryce Blues is in the middle of all this. I'm sure he probably doesn't want to be.
Oh, Finney and Chris Garrett messed up his pit lane. A 44-second delta on pit lane versus about a 35. Oh no, the 24's around. Spin, crash in turn 3. Big one.
So I was going to get a replay of that. Wow, a big accident. That takes out quite a few competitors there.
Some of the best drivers of the night all torn up with 20 laps to go.
And just as we were talking about Stravato having some good luck.
Yep. All gone there.
All ends up in smoke in turn 3.
Yeah, that car's barely tracking straight. Oh, it's definitely not. That car's done for the night.
You know, I imagine he's probably going to want to continue out here as long as he can. He's only got to go another 20 laps, even less than that. So I imagine he's just going to try to salvage something out of this.
Wow. 4th caution of the night, this time for a big mess.
So, and their drivers not happy with each other. Driver chat was just muted. So
I can't imagine that drivers would be thrilled with each other. Let's take a look in slow motion here at how this started up. It was the 82 of Kalusa that got into the 24, and that's what triggered everything. Oh man, Stravato took a ride up on the fence. Brandon Bowers, Matthew Close, all in this one. And this was just lap cars kind of in the middle of everything here towards the end of the race, Finney. This is not the situation you want to be in. There's the 82, the 50. I don't think Lakatos really did anything wrong there. It was really the 82 that drove up into the side of the 24.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a bad situation because Bailey here doesn't necessarily have to leave room.
No.
To allow the 82 to make a pass, but also the 82 can't slow down because he's got the 22 in behind of him, so he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, that's right on board with AJ Stravato, and we thought maybe this was the night his luck would turn around. Here's a look. What a violent wreck there for the 33. And here's another look in slow motion. 33 getting up on top of the wall and almost into the fence, which is scary enough. You get on top of the wall here, Finney, it's a bad time. And wow, dramatic closing moment accident here. And the 22 also torn up in this. And it's a big mess. Here's a look at full speed from the turn 4 wall camera. And they're going to come already crash sliding into the shot.
Well, two drivers I think are going to be extremely happy about that accident occurring is Tim Downey Jr. and Zach Halpern. They're back in this race for the win, and with a good amount of their competition damage, they have a really good shot of finishing well.
Yeah, I think that was, for these guys, that just put these guys essentially in the favorites category here. I think Elliot Butler, Adam Cabot, and those two, the Downey Enterprises cars, are the ones to beat here in these closing moments. Almost everyone else has some sort of damage. The only other car I think that could be competitive, Yusuf Ghali maybe, and also Matt White in the 70 is also up here, and he hasn't really shown a lot of speed tonight, but top 5 in the closing moments of a restrictor plate race, anybody could get this thing, and certainly that includes the 70.
Yeah, and actually I'm just kind of scanning through the field to see who's got a competitive car left to really fight with. As far as the playoff drivers are concerned, it's only Halpern, Tim Downey Jr., Alex Bell, and Elliot Butler that remain.
It's been a wild night. He had 3 cautions in the first 37 laps, then nothing until lap number 90. Over 50 laps of green flag racing, all to tear up a bunch of the lead lap competitive race cars in the front, and 2 of our drivers that led the most laps tonight also involved in that wreck. Alek Martinez is going to...
not happy with each other.
Yeah, Alek Martinez is going to gain a few more spots here as well. So he's, again, sticking it out, and he's not going to walk out of here with the points leader, but he's certainly going to save what could have been a very, very bad night. We started the night with 29 cars. We're going to be down to about 13, maybe 12 cars that don't have some sort of significant damage on them.
Yeah, we've lost a lot.
And Talladega it giveth, and Talladega taketh away.
Okay, that's kind of scary because I was just thinking about that quote.
Great minds think alike, Finney. And why do you think I hired you? I always, what's kind of funny is I always say I hire you, I fire you, but you're the one that kind of decided to do this in the first place. But the bank account's under my name, so it's mine.
You bow down to me, yeah. I was going to say, except in the eye of the government.
Except for when I get taxed. Then it's on me, right? That's how that works?
It's going to go to me.
I'm going to send you the bill for the taxes.
You own it 364 days of the year except on tax day.
Yep, pretty much. That's how it's going to work. And when we get hired to do something cool, then it's also mine. And the day we close down, it's your fault.
No.
So, let's see here. Well, it's sad to see Eric Mickey was crashed out so early in the going on lap number 7. Yeah. It was his first return to SimTV in quite some time, and it didn't last very long. I think back to Michigan VRL back in 2018. That was the last time we saw him with this group. And some things don't change, unfortunately. That was Eric Mickey getting caught up in it as an innocent bystander in an accident that he had no part in.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate to see because I haven't seen a whole lot of Eric. He's usually not around as much anymore. It was nice to see him back on the track. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Yeah, like you said, unfortunately, it wasn't for so long. Hopefully, he's back in another race.
I miss the Scars guys in general. We stopped broadcasting the Ferrari Challenge due to dropping car counts and took up the Fuel IndyCar series instead. But I'm not really sure we ever fully explained the reason why publicly. But the reason why we stopped broadcasting the Ferrari Challenge was not because we didn't want to do it anymore. It's because I don't like taking people's money if it's not going to be worth it, and I don't really feel like charging people for a 2-hour-long broadcast where there's 10 cars, so it's one of those things where I just called an audible and said, you guys, once you get the car counts back up and to where it'll be a show that people want to watch, then we'll 100% come back, and that is the plan for February 2020. Scars will be back on SimTV on Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. So it does look like Bailey Turner is rolling again, and he really doesn't have all that much damage. He might be able to...
Compared to some other guys.
Yeah. So we're going to have 16 laps to finish this out. That's not a very long time. Do you think we go green to the end?
That's a tough one. I don't think so, the way this race has gone. I don't think we're going to go green to the end. I would like to believe we will, but I don't think we will.
Well, we're going to have 16 laps to duke it out. That's just shy of 50 miles. A little more shy of that, but 2.66 times 17.
Yeah, I am. I pull the calculator.
It's like 40-something. It's just shy of 50 for all intents and purposes.
45.
Yeah, okay. That wasn't that wrong. Again, this race was 110 laps, 291.9 miles. And so we're really down to the last section of that. The last 45 miles around lap. We're essentially mile 245 right now.
Yep, getting ready for the pace car pull-off for what could be the final time. I doubt it is. Might be, though.
Elliot Butler hopes the next time he sees the pace cars when he pulls the car into the pits after he's won. Tonight he has led 7 laps only, which is surprising considering how much he's been up front. But I am going to bet that he's going to lead a bunch more laps here in the closing moments of this race. We're going to do a SimTV sound surge here on the restart. Hang tight. Caleb Weekly in the number 10. It's his first race in the Outsider Racing League. Coming to the line, he's going to lead his first lap tonight, and the first lap ever that he's run in the Outsider Racing League. And how about that, Finian? With 14 laps to go, the newcomer in the number 10 leads a lap. Do you think he can get it done?
I mean, honestly, really, any of these guys in this league that can't get it done that remain. But, you know, surprisingly, I'm amazed that he's up here in the front leading here with so little laps to go. If he can keep it up here, yeah, we could definitely see him go to victory lane. Also, one guy really didn't talk about, especially with that caution coming out, 57's been here after what happened to him.
Yeah,
stuff.
Big,
so back in the
big lucky moment for him. I'm liking that outside lane, but the bottom is strong as well with the 6 and the 77 line astern. The 25 at Tim Downey Jr. making moves to the outside. He's going to jump up there in front of Alex Bell. Does anyone go with him, though? 13 laps to go at Talladega.
I think he's trying to force Bell's hand to make him go to the outside. Unfortunately, they lost too much momentum. I think the 25 is going to pull back in line in front of him.
2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Everyone's lined up. And the final moments here at Talladega, these plate races always get entertaining at the end here, but when the championship is on the line, and again, this first race in the chase, there's no bubble, or there's no boundary, there's no advantage you can get coming into this. Everyone was on equal ground other than bonus points coming in here, so a mistake today is catastrophic for the point standings, especially for guys like Jeff Wright, who were involved in the early collision. Alek Martinez is going to have a bad day in the points now that a couple of his competitors, Tim Downey Jr., one of them, has gotten so many positions here in the closing moments. 12 laps to go.
Yeah, I'll be very scared of Alek Martinez of these Downey Enterprises guys. They're going to get a lot of points now and potentially in the future races as well. So he's definitely going to have to get a little bit more nervous going to these next few races. Because these guys, as long as they finish well, again, still got a ways to go in this race, but it's looking really good for them so far.
For Caleb Weekly, there's a lot of pressure right now in that number 10. He's got the 6 of Elliot Butler pushing him. Do you think it's going to be a disadvantage that he's a new driver here and that people maybe won't quite trust him yet?
Yeah, I think so. That's kind of a risky run. You know, for a lot of these guys have been running with each other for, you know, multiple seasons and even years, so they definitely know how to trust who they can trust, who they can work with. But for him, he's kind of an unknown, so drivers might be bit hesitant here.
11 laps to go now. Weekly on the bottom, Butler up top, Chris Garrett shoving that 6 car forward. Cabot tucked in 4th right now, and now 4th is held by Alex Bell as the 24 hit the apron off into turn 1. Jesse Pierce making a return in the 17.
Yeah, and Tim Downey Jr. was trying to lead up a charge to the front. He's going to slowly drift on back to find his team, and I imagine, and hook back up with one another.
Yusuf Ghali in the 12 sitting in 8th place right now. The seas have parted as the 15s and 17 jump to the outside, and he's going to follow him through and leave Garrett stranded in the middle.
I'm kind of amazed that they're running this configuration with the 15 in front and the 17 in the back.
77 jumps up to the middle groove in front of Chris Garrett. Garrett's going to give him a big shove here. These two working together are a weapon. The 6 jumps up in front of the 77. Cabot has none out of it.
Whoa.
Splits him 3 wide for the lead here.
Yeah, that was definitely not teammates working together. I guess that's kind of ended at the moment. Oh boy, here we go, 4 wide.
10 laps to go. 4 wide for 3rd. Oh no, there they go.
Oh, no, there
they go.
There
And
they go. It's a crash. Big crash in turns 1 and 2. And Garrett's on his roof.
And just like that, a night full of promise for the 57 ends in smoke.
Yeah, and one single swoop, all the supercharged got, actually, except for Elliot Butler, who was able to drive away, they all got involved, but Cabot and Butler will be crashed out.
Yeah, 4 wide was never going to work. It's wide enough to do it, but the stability just isn't there tonight. And let's take a look in slow motion at how this all happened. You can see the 15, the 57, the 6, and the 24 all trying to go 4 wide here. And it wasn't the 15, it was the 77. And the 57 just gets in there, just not enough space. And they start ping-ponging around, and the 24 gets hooked, and that's really where it all goes wrong. And I gotta watch the 57 in super slow motion as he gets tripped up and over. How wild that was. As here's a look. And 6 was holding his line. I think it's just there's not quite enough space to do that. Watch this hit the 57 took straight into the fence and up and over, sliding on his roof down the banking. Right on board with the 24 as well, full speed.
Fortunate return too, because he almost narrowly avoided it, but just got clipped by the 6, also with a little bit of neck to it, and went flying up into the wall.
So now that we've got our 5th caution going on right now, it's good time to catch back up on our lead changes. 35 tonight, and we're gonna have a restart with about 5 or 6 laps to go, maybe 7. But Caleb Weekly, again, his first start in the series, and look where he is.
It's kind of amazing the fact that he's ended up on the front. I mean, you know, really, it's just showing, at least in this race, you know, if you're at least running with a decent car, again, you're up here in the front. He's kept his car clean all day.
Well, we'd also like to remind you at this time that if you're watching this video right now on YouTube and you look down and the red button is not gray, the subscribe button, you should click it and make it gray, because when it's gray, it's better. And there's a little button next to it. It looks like a little bell icon. You can, I'm helping people navigate the website, Finian.
I just like the quote, when it's gray, it's better.
And you click the little gray button, and they save a space on the arc for you, I hear.
Is that from the C's part? No, I know that's a different story.
Yikes. I mean, I'm just saying that button is directly connected to your Mega Millions chances. And if you click that button, I shouldn't say that because that's you can't.
Yeah, but 0.000000001 chance increase in winning.
I'll buy you a lottery ticket if you subscribe. I'll literally do anything.
That's a lot of lottery tickets you gotta buy. Does that count for the other 1,000 guys before?
So what does the bell icon do, you ask? Well, I'm glad. Thank you for asking. What the bell icon does is every time we go live, it goes, hey. SimTV's live. You should go watch. And then you can go watch, and you always know when we're live. So that's what that does.
Hang on, I'm about to be like every YouTuber that's been
here we go.
that I've been watching recently and read out exactly the percentage of people that are not.
Yeah, because if you're watching and you still haven't hit the button yet, shame on your family, because I told you already. I'm just saying. If you've made it, if you've watched long enough for you to hear this insult, then you should have already subscribed. And if you're not, I'm upset and offended.
Okay.
And I do take it personal.
So, according to YouTube, first of all, the people that have watched the stream over the last 28 days, 42% are not subscribed.
Okay, so you 42%. Hey, you people. So that button I told you about? If you click that, then you become a part of the other, 38, 58, 48?
Yeah.
What's the other percentage?
57.
57%. You'd be one of the better 57%.
And then even more so, only 10% of our subscribers have turned on the notification icon.
How many? What?
10%.
10%? Okay, so I know about... Okay, so there's 30 people watching, so I know at least only... 3 of you have it clicked?
Yeah.
Click the bell. Kyle, where's the stream link? It's up already. It'll ping you when I go live. You should hit the button and it'll tell you. It'll send you an email and a notification to your phone, your mobile device that you don't part with at any time of the day.
Also, shout out to the 0.6% of people that watch with the subtitles.
Oh God, I don't even want to. Can you like subtitle in like any language? Can you like do Japanese?
You could, if you. I think you might have to turn on a setting to have people do it for you. But someone could, if they want to go in there and actually put Japanese subtitles. It's probably not going to be correct. Anyone watching knows how to actually speak Japanese.
We've had viewers from like 15 different countries. I'm sure somebody knows Japanese.
Oh yeah.
Someone know Norwegian?
Believe it or not, for me, I don't know Japanese, even though I watch anime.
Oh, here we go. These things you shouldn't admit on the internet. Step 1.
Hey, I'm saying I don't. I'm not saying that I do. Although oddly enough, I'm become very good at pronouncing Japanese names, which has only come up in this like I think once or twice. There's only been like one Japanese.
Hey, Finian.
Yeah.
You should stop. Yeah, also, I have to thank everybody for coming out. This is a big group. 31 watching is, I think the most we've ever had is 99. So,
I think a good, I would bet my life that like 60% of the people watching, 60-70% of the people that were in the race at one point.
Wow. Well,
I mean,
also,
I'm not saying anything bad to any of the people that
Jakaso wants to know if you can speak Indian.
No, I can curse in Hindi.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that'll go.
Can we get demonetized in Hindi?
I mean, technically, right? I think that would count. It should. I doubt it is, because I doubt they're gonna care enough.
That's one thing I haven't really thought about is like
Well, actually, T-Series is now the most the most subscribed channel, so.
But that's like Korean,
Yeah,
isn't it?
imagine they care.
I don't know
no.
what YouTube
Are you
is.
serious?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I literally don't know.
You don't know which.
I don't.
T-Series is Indian.
Really? I thought it was like all K-pop.
No.
That's.
It's all Indian. It's all Indian. It's all Indian artists.
Well, that's. I'm ashamed I didn't know that. That's not the. You can't.
It's my people's music.
You're from Long
I don't-
Island.
No, I can't. I honestly, admittedly, I can't stand Hindi music. I cannot at all.
Like the boing boing boing. What's the music? The song. What's the music that they do? I don't know.
Boing boing boing. Oh,
I
God.
don't know, dude. I'm sorry.
Back to the racing.
Well, we're not racing yet. We still have half a lap. Okay, yeah, back to the racing. So 5 laps to go. It'll be just under 5 minutes of racing. It's going to be Caleb Weekly, the newcomer, on the inside. Brandon Bowers on the outside. I can't believe we just went straight back to being serious again. Matt White in 3rd, Tim Downey Jr. in 4th, Yusuf Ghali in 5th. Then it's going to be Hronis, Halpern, Mott Jr., Butler, and Cabot. Kind of tailing off the rest of your group here. Bailey Turner's back there in 12th as well. So all factors in the closing moments here. Coming back to the restart, it'll be... I can't stop laughing now. 5 laps to go now. It'll be Weekly in control of this race. The Outsider Racing League chase. 5 laps to go in race number 1.
Doing a horrible start from Tim Downey Jr. He lit up the tires and was sideways for a little bit, but he's back up to speed here.
There's no waiting around now. It's going to take at least 2 laps to even gain momentum here. So pick a friend, stick with them, because you're going to have to roll with them for the rest of the race. Downey Jr. slots into the bottom.
Yeah, he's leaving Halpern. He's not wasting any time to get to the front here as Brandon Bowers is a bit off pace.
Yusuf Ghali charging forward. Could he get another race victory? This would sting extra hard for Ghali, though, to win a race now and not be in the chase. That's got
to win the last 2 races and not be,
Yeah, that would really sting. But here he comes on the outside with help from the 31 of Bowers. 4 laps to go this time. It's Caleb Weekly still holding on. I don't think Weekly's going to take any chances here. I think he's kind of concerned about his image tonight, just trying not to get in anybody's way, and I think tonight that might be a good thing. Won't put himself in a bad situation.
Well, if he's going to play conservative, he's going to allow guys to drive around the outside. That's what Ghali's trying to do with the shove from the 31 in behind him.
Matt White sitting in 3rd. Could he get his first win of the season here as well? Winless so far. This would be a great run for him if he could just finish this one off.
The inside lane starting to lose some steam here as they're a little bit disjointed. The outside lane, however, hooked up pretty well.
Through 3 and 4, I see the Downey Enterprises cars lined up on the outside here, Finian. Could they go up to the top and maybe make a run out there? But do you need more cars than just 2 to make that line work?
Hey, you might be able to make it work. You just got to push a lot, and that's, I think, where the concern is. I'm curious, honestly, how far these guys are going to push it, because, honestly, right now, they're looking at a really solid finish, and I honestly don't think, unless a good opportunity opens up, they're going to force the issue here.
Right now in the top 4, there are no chase drivers. Any one of those front 4, the 10, the 12, the 70, or the 31, if they win, it's inconsequential to the championship other than taking points away from those that are in it. Gali is the only one of those drivers that has a race victory this season.
And here comes Elliot Butler, too. He's tucked in behind the Downey Enterprises guys, and he's looking to get back to the front. We saw him do really well this race.
Through 3 and 4, coming back to 2 laps to go, just over 5 miles left. And Caleb Weekly, it was his first start tonight, just trying to make friends out there, but he could make everybody a friend if he could just come home in victory lane. How impressive would that be in his first outing to go to victory lane, 5.2 miles away from making that a reality?
Yeah, especially because for most of this race, he wasn't even with the lead pack until recently, and then immediately shot up to the front and hasn't looked back since.
Down the back straightaway, and Weekly still got the bottom, but I think the 12's going to get a really solid run with help from the 31, but they didn't get a big push that time, and Downey Jr. dropped to the bottom, so the Downey Enterprises guys are split between the top and bottom lanes. That's an interesting move here in the closing moments.
Oh, and as we say that, Halpern's jumped in behind the 25 now as the gap opened up.
Coming back to the start-finish line, it'll be 2.66 miles. 1 lap left at Talladega. White flag in the air. One more time around.
You just got what it takes now. If you've been holding anything back, well, now's the time to just put your foot on the gas and never let off.
Weekly in the number 10, in front of the 70 of White and the 12 of Yusuf Gali, down the back straightaway for the final time. All about the runs now. Downey Jr. and Halpern pushing hard on the bottom. Butler on the high side, no help there. David Mott pushing the 31, and the 12's getting a great run into turn 3. It's going to be a drag race back to the checkers as they work through 3 and 4.
Yeah, and Gali pinching on the inside, trying to get some sort of draft from the inside lane to keep up momentum here. Here they come out of turn 4.
Final corners. Long straightaway left, Weekly and Gali side by side coming back to the checkers.
Oh, there's lap cars up ahead.
Lap cars in the way. Weekly coming to the checkers. First race, first win for the 10 of Caleb Weekly. He gets it done at Talladega.
How about that?
Wow. What an incredible moment for the number 10. A clean finish here, a clean nose, and celebrations inbound for the 10. Started second to last, Finney, and 28th to first.
And even more so, I'm actually looking back, he started from the pits.
I mean, that's incredible. It started out at the tail of the field tonight and worked his way up. He kept his nose out of trouble. He worked with cars that were damaged all night long, helping everyone out. And tonight he's a race winner. And heading straight to pit lane. No celebration for the 10, at least not yet.
Very humble.
I guess so. Now he's going to come back out and into the grass here. Here he goes.
Hey.
Celebration time for the 10. I like the old-fashioned, like that's the 2004 Dale Jr. 500 celebration in the grass. He led only 12 laps tonight out of the 110, but that was enough. Super solid race. This is a really impressive night for him. Let's take a look at your race results and your race analysis here. 35 lead changes, Finney, and the last of them was he's doing burnouts on pit lane.
Yeah, I think. Oh boy.
I think he needs some practice at that. But if he has the win ratio that he's got so far, he'll be just fine. So chase contenders Alek Martinez back in 15th. All in all, pretty solid night, recovering from that early crash. For Chris Garrett, a late race issue for him. Jeff Wright came in tied for the points lead. Will walk out with a 25th place finish. Eli Hinton, Eric Mickey, and others out early in that lap 7 crash.
Yeah, and guys like Tim Downey Jr. and Zach Halpern, they're going to be doing a happy song and dance. They finished 4th and 6th in this race. I really don't think, the way this race has gone, I don't think they could have asked for a whole lot better. And even Elliot Butler, for that matter, too, he's going to be finishing 8th. He's going to have a little bit of work to do to really catch up with Halpern and Tim Downey Jr., because I think those two guys are just on fire at the moment.
We'll be back in just a couple minutes with Caleb Weekly and more to talk to. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back live to Sim TV. We're here now with Matt White, third place tonight in the number 70. Now, a scratch on that car, Matt, after the chaos in the early part of the race. Coming back for a third place has got to feel like a win.
Yeah, I mean, just want to give a shout out to Caleb there for running a good race. He was having internet issues in the beginning, pushed him there at the end with whatever cars were left. And it does feel like when I was cheering louder running third than I think he was running first. So was an awesome race, kind of crazy there, but to keep it together, that was awesome.
Tonight we saw a couple incidents out there. It seemed like drivers were maybe struggling to put their cars in certain places. How much did the new tire, if at all, affect the handling of these race cars?
I mean, on fresh tires, it really doesn't matter too much at plate track so much as it is. It's the older tires. If you don't take lefts, or you don't take 4 tires, it can be kind of screwy. When your moves really fast, it can just come right. I've had that in the past. It's crazy.
Hey, Matt, congratulations. The third place tonight in your tracker ATVs and boats car. Looking good out there in that number 70 Camry. Congratulations on the strong run. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, I'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Move on now to Yusuf Ghali, who finished second tonight. And Yusuf, this has got to sting just a little bit after winning 2 races prior to the chase, not making it in, and then finishing second in the first round. What things could have been, but is that what you're focused on, or are you just focused on getting race wins?
Just focused on getting to a real racetrack at Watkins Glen next week.
So obviously maybe a bit of frustration tonight with the plate racing, and this was a long race as well, but heading to Watkins Glen, I know that's a racetrack some drivers look forward to and some do not. Is that a racetrack you think you can go win at, or are you just looking for a solid top 5?
I'm going to win there because I like winning at real racetracks.
All right.
And other than that, we're going to go try and win at Dover and all that.
All right, well, Matt, a few words tonight. Yusuf Ghali, going to look forward to seeing you in Victory Lane next week at Watkins Glen. Yusuf, thanks for talking. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And I guess we'll move on now to Caleb Weekly in the number 10 car tonight. Caleb, what a race. Started 28th from the pits. And after 110 laps of Talladega racing, you ended up in Victory Lane. First time, first try, first win for you. What is going through your head that last lap, and how'd you end up holding off a field of angry drivers to get your first win? Oh, I think Caleb got dragged back out and pulling back in. Hey, Caleb, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Hey, but I kind of got dragged out there. First of all, hey, congratulations, 28th to first in your first race ever. Those last couple laps, your heart's got to be going through your chest right there. Walk us through those closing moments and how you held off an angry pack.
I knew from the restart that Matt White was going to push me. He told me, coming to the green, I'll push you to the win. Then it was just a battle with me in the 12. I mean, I've never felt my heart rate go that fast in iRacing before.
Obviously, it's a new group of guys. How much were you concerned about gaining respect tonight versus racing as hard as you could? And did that stop you from making any moves, especially at the beginning of the race when things were so wild?
Yeah. These seem like a really good group of guys, like very talented. And also in the starting of the race, I was having some connection issues, so I had to kind of stay in the back. So didn't know if I'd be able to race, but once I did, I just kind of went up through the pack.
Next week we head to Watkins Glen. Can we expect to see you there? And how do you think you do on the road course next week in upstate New York?
I unfortunately can't make it next week. It's my birthday next Saturday, so I'm going to be partying, of course.
Well, hey, a early celebration tonight here from Talladega. Caleb, congratulations. Thanks for talking to us, and we hope to see you back sometime because one win in one start, your win ratio is looking pretty darn good, so hope to see you back.
Yeah, I'll hopefully make it 2 for 2. Is Kentucky after Watkins Glen?
I actually don't have the schedule pulled up right now, but I'll pull it up in just a moment. Maybe if you have it already up, Finian? I don't know.
What's up?
We're disorganized right now. Hold on. Stick with us. Let's see here. Next race will be Kentucky on the 4th of January. So hopefully we'll see you there, I guess, right?
Yep.
All right, Caleb. Hey, congratulations. Go ahead and celebrate. Happy birthday, and we'll see you back when you come back.
Thanks. I look forward to it.
Alrighty. That is all the interviews for tonight, Finian. A long, long race here. I think we're ready to get off for the night, but congratulations to Caleb Weekly, Yusuf Ghali, and Matt White. Next time you're going to see us will be next Saturday at Watkins Glen International for the Outsider Racing League. Keep your eye on SimTV for next week, though. Some interesting content coming up that is just a little bit outside of what we normally do. So stay put. We'll see it, and enjoy your Christmas if that's what you celebrate, and we'll see you around.